Welcome everybody to our latest session of Scarlet Citadel. We had a very challenging session last week with 2 lost PCs. So as usual, we will do a quick recap and then we will get started. So group, you will likely recall when we picked up last week, you guys were actually, I believe you guys were outside of the Scarlet Citadel if memory serves. And you guys had been making some arrangements, making some discussions about what was going to be your next course of action. You guys were sort of planning which way should you enter the Scarlet Citadel, knowing that these trollkin seemingly have also moved onto the second floor. So you guys debated about how to enter this and ultimately decided to re-enter in the sort of traditional or primary way to the second floor. When you did that, you guys started making your way around the area here, looking, scouting, seeing what you could find. Eventually, as you made your way over to the west and the south, you were able to discover that there are these 2 robotic individuals that you sort of spotted before, these constructs, and they previously never really paid much attention to you. They didn't react to you in any way. This time, however, once they spotted you, they both turned and kind of started walking monotonously away from you. So you guys decided to follow them to see where they were headed. And they made their way to the southwest area, where you know is the area where the time machine actually pops in and out on occasion. And once they got down there, with you guys following close behind, particularly Elliot was the closest one, the time machine actually popped back in. But unfortunately, it wasn't alone. It brought with it a large dinosaur. And we found ourselves in combat. So as the dinosaur popped in, surprisingly, it lost initiative. So you guys had sort of a full round to decide what to do. You guys, some of you, shouted out, "Let's bring it back towards this hole." You were trying to sort of jockey for position. Unfortunately, by the time it became to be the enemy's turn, it had a straight line to Mei Yi and couldn't reach anybody else. So it charged Mei Yi with an attempt to bite her. Mei Yi rolled a critical hit upon herself, and this turned into a mighty bite that did so much damage, more damage than she actually had health. So one-shotted her to 0 HP. Then on top of that, it had 2 claw attacks as it was stabbing at her while it was grasping her in its mouth. And unfortunately, both of those claw attacks managed to hit, which killed Mei Yi through that series of 3 attacks, whereupon the dinosaur actually swallowed Mei Yi. The rest of the group was shocked by this turn of events and continued engaging the dinosaur in combat. Grask was able to determine the species of this creature, as they are known to be around the swamps of Markazor, where Grask is from, and he recognized that these creatures don't have any... they are essentially very much bonded towards reptilian humanoids, so they don't like to fight reptilian humanoids. They avoid them at all costs, and even when they do fight them, they're not particularly effective because they kind of almost look at them as friends in a way. And as the fight continued on, the group had the dinosaur almost killed at this point, but the group was also hearing the sound of movement getting closer. The group knew that there were some trollkin on this floor previously, and sure enough, as the battle with the giant lizard is ending, some trollkin started popping through the door to the east. So the group found themselves on another front of battle, this time to their east, and began fighting in that direction. Elliot was actually knocked to the ground by the lizard and then grabbed and brought over and put into a chair, or just behind a chair. Some healing was applied to him, but he was very low in HP. Seeing only one of these opponents and thinking there was only one of these opponents remaining, he sort of rushed up and engaged in battle at that low HP amount. Unfortunately, it turned out there were still other of these opponents back in the hallway, so they kept pushing the battle, and Elliot found himself right in the front lines based on where he had moved. The group continued fighting these trollkin, but unfortunately one of the Lich Hounds was with the trollkin, as has been pretty common with them so far. And the Lich Hounds, as the group has very unfortunately learned, have a special ability called Gut Rip, which allows them to deal significant damage to a prone target near them. And this is after Elliot was dropped to the ground and hit for some additional damage. It was a gut rip by the Lich Hound that slayed Elliot as well. So with 2 companions having been slain, the group continued this battle and was able to defeat these Trollkin and fight the Lich Hound enough. Actually, I believe in sort of bouncing back and forth, the Lich Hound was actually slain. I believe this was the first Lich Hound the group has managed to slay. The group also was able to learn during one of these bouts of combat that pushing the Lich Hound over the precipice of the ledge, hoping it was going to fall down below, that unfortunately the Lich Hounds actually fly. So in addition to being very strong, resolute opponents, they also can fly. So the group did manage to defeat the Trollkin here and slay a Lich Hound once and for all, and then pushed to the exit. As they were pushing to the exit, they could hear the sound of people pursuing them, most likely additional Trollkin, and the group made their way out of the Scarlet Citadel. However, it wasn't as easy as all that, because once they got back to the first floor, I called for a roll, and the roll was not good. And it turned out that as the group exited this area, there were shadows waiting for them. So we had some shadows engaging the group in combat. We had a certain number of rounds before the Trollkin that were pursuing the party would catch up to them. Luckily, the party was able to dispatch these shadows and move on before the Trollkin caught up. So they were able to quickly push out and out of this location and get out of the Scarlet Citadel. With that, the group spent a little bit of time outside of the Scarlet Citadel, sort of just discussing, realizing how bad all of this situation had gone, and then made their way back to the village of Red Tower. Once they got back to the village of Red Tower, they did some sort of downtime kind of stuff, in particular heading to the Cage Tavern and Inn, looking for the Money Man once again. Grask was trying to discuss with the Money Man if there was some way that he could get into the melee in the upcoming tournament in Proudglaive. And the Money Man, Heimar, explained to him that, it really didn't explain to him, it seemed like he was talking to anybody but Grask, but essentially said that only humans, or humanoids perhaps, depending on how you phrase it, he didn't give specifics, but indicated that most of the combatants in these tournament play, so both the melee, the archery, and particularly the joust, the expectation is that for sure for the joust is you have to be somebody of noble blood or a knight to participate. In the melee, they're a little bit more loose about who they allow to participate, but they tend to view bestial humans, like lizard folk, as more like monsters than they do view them as citizens of the land, and so they don't allow them generally to participate in these kind of battles. There were some suggestions thrown out, perhaps that Grass could obscure his presence or disguise himself in some way and sort of enter the melee under a different name, but he said he did not want to do that because he was trying to earn honor and earn respect for himself, not through some kind of second name or disguise. So the group has had some different discussions about this. During all this time in the Cage Tavern and Inn, the group met a new companion, Bassane, who was there and seemingly had arrived here for doing some research and some curiosities. Turned out he actually knew quite a bit about the lizard folk culture from Markazor and engaged Grask in a conversation and seemingly very interested in Grask and kind of went on for quite some time about this. Grask was probably viewed him as a bit of a curiosity, not sure exactly what this all meant, but the group did get to talking, and I believe Bassane has been invited to join the group on their next expedition to the Scarlet Citadel. I'm pretty sure we got through all those social niceties. So at the end of our session last time, after all these discussions, Ambrosi inside the Cage Tavern Inn let the group know that the witch Zula was wanting to speak to them, and the group asked who this was. He explained that outside of the village wall by the pond, there is a little distance away from the pond in the forest, there is a cottage, and it is home to the witch Zula. He went on to explain that I believe the question was asked to him, has she ever actually helped anybody? And he said yes, more or less, depends on what you mean by helped. So it seemed to be not necessarily really shady, but she's obviously not this glowing, holy benefactor kind of individual, but she might have some interesting discussions to have with you, or might perhaps have some knowledge for you. Hard to say exactly what she has, but the witch Zula is looking for the group. So group, that is my quick recap of what occurred last week. Probably missed a bunch in there, but is there anything anybody would like to add? All right. Well, we will assume that is sufficient then, group, and we will get everybody back over to the map. So, best of my knowledge, we are still in the village of Red Tower, and I believe the group is actually still in the Cage Tavern and Inn. So we'll get you guys right over to there. All right, group. So you find yourself sitting at the table here. You have some food and drinks nearby. I believe you guys have not spent the night here yet. So if you're planning to, after discussion, I believe you are planning to return back to the Scarlet Citadel. So essentially you have the rest of the night here, perhaps a couple of hours before it's true nighttime for going to sleep for the next morning. If there's anything you would like to take care of in that regard, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we can assume you guys get your rest in and we can move to the morning.
I just think Hugo would probably want to see if I could borrow a little bit of money, a little bit of gold, so that he can copy another spell into the spell book.
And I assume that means borrow from your companions?
Yes. Yeah. Let me just double check the rules for copying and stuff.
Okay, and while Hugo's checking that, is there anything anybody else is wanting to do during this time? Okay, sounds like not. Yeah, Hugo, go ahead.
All right, so Hugo he has 50 gold on him. He needs 50 more and 4 hours, and then he's going to try to copy time step into.
So there's still money on that credit slip that we got. We were able to pay the money man back, but we were conservative, so we still have 628 gold pieces and 105 silver pieces left on that credit slip.
Yeah, so if that's able to purchase the stuff necessary for copying stuff in the spell book, he would just borrow, take 50 of that gold. And then it would take him 4 hours because it's a second level spell, but try to copy time step into his book. Okay. Yep. So Adam, as long as that's cool, I'm going to spend 100 gold in 4 hours and copy time step.
You certainly have the time, and sounds like you have the resources. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so we will assume that Hugo has managed to do that overnight. So you guys wrap up your food and drinks here and retire to rooms here at the Cage Tavern and Inn, sleeping overnight and finding yourselves quite relaxed. I will go ahead and apply a long rest to our group. Okay, group, so as you are fully restored from that night's rest and wake up and slowly begin trickling down the steps to the Cage Tavern Inn's main room, you're going to notice that Ambrosi is behind the counter. There is a small group of patrons here in the Cage Tavern Inn. It looks like mostly they're sitting down eating some breakfast. A couple of them seem to be chatting. There's a bit of a conversation and a gathering, you might say, at one table. It's like 4 people. They stick out a little bit, seemingly as though they are maybe more well-dressed, so they don't look like travelers. Maybe they're more merchants or some other type of class of individuals that can afford some of the nicer things here. So looking at their attire, it seems to be a cut above the regular folks that you see, and they seem to be engaged in sort of a quiet conversation, all leaning forward on the table, sort of elbows on the table as they speak. You notice a lot of like gestures of hands and so forth. On quick glance, they seem to just be like Anwirian locals. But again, a little bit of more cut above the average folk you'd see here, so certainly not like farmers. The rest of the common room seems to be pretty bare. I imagine you guys will all get together at one of the tables here and discuss your plans for re-entering the Scarlet Citadel.
Yeah, and do they look, so they don't look like adventurers, just like richer people?
You don't see any weapons or equipment that you would expect would mark them to be adventuring type folks. You think more or less probably merchants would be the first thing that comes to mind, or maybe sort of like lesser nobles, perhaps?
Look at those nobles over there, maybe. Rich people. If anyone needs to get sponsored in the tournament, might be able to do that.
Good work.
Yes, as I said before, I can't guarantee anything, but they looked well dressed, put together.
Well, maybe you can talk to him, Bassane, since you're of that ilk.
Sure. Some people find me a bit strange, but sure. Grass, do you want me to strike conversation with them?
Yes.
So he'll get up and he'll throw his little sandals onto the floor and slide his feet in and kind of shuffle his way over.
Okay, so as you start approaching here, Bassane, you notice this group. It all looks to be 4 men. They all look to be maybe in their 40s, something like that. As you notice, the one who is sitting at the sort of opposite side of the booth sees you approaching. You notice he motions with his hand to his companions, and you notice they all kind of lean back as though they cancel their conversation. And you see he looks up towards you. Yes, is there something that I can help you with?
Hello. My name is Basan. Well, there's not many folks that come here looking as well dressed and well mannered as you gentlemen. Are you passing through for the upcoming tournament in Proudglaive?
You notice he kind of steeples his fingers here as he eyes you, seemingly maybe a bit cautiously. Our business is our own.
This is true, and I hope I don't threaten you in any way. I only wish to ask you about mm, sponsorship of individual I know who would like to fight.
You notice he sort of slowly nods and maybe relaxes just a bit, as perhaps he was expecting you to say something else. You notice his companions seemingly are more curious at this point as they kind of look at one another before looking back to him. And you see he looks over towards you once again and gives a slow nod. We are more, I suppose you could say, investors. We don't exactly have the means to just sponsor anybody. It would require the pulling of many favors and things. What's your inside line?
Well, I have a companion of mine who has survived, I think it's 5+ trips through the Citadel. It's quite strong. Um, the only thing is it's a bit of a racial issue.
Oh, don't tell me he's one of the Vaz.
No, no. A bit more bestial, if you will. He's he's a lizard folk,
Uh,
standing nearly 8 foot tall.
you notice he kind of leans back a little bit as he. Surely you're jest. You don't expect me to put my family's honor on the line for a lizard folk.
Well, I figured I'd be honest instead of lying to you and bringing you a fully armored, fake. This, well, gentleman is insanely strong. And if you're investors, my assumption is you're in the market of making good coin. Yeah?
Yes, but as you can probably guess, investments pay off when they are done wisely. This is a land that is very old of custom. If you should rankle the powers that be, doesn't matter how much money you have, you're not going to be able to enjoy it.
Yes, but there's other people in our party that can compete in other events. We have a fantastic archer. We have skilled swordsmen and spell slingers. We only need to fill the position of a joust, and we could clean sweep the tournament, so to speak. Wouldn't that be something? Has that ever been done before?
There's no such thing as. You mean a single person winning all 3 events?
Maybe not a single person, but under a single banner.
Yes, of course that has happened before. If you mean by a family's banner, a house's banner, yes, it's happened many times.
How much honor does that bring said banner?
It can be quite a bit, in fact.
So you're hesitating over, once again, a racial issue. We can see past that through numerous means, I can think. But as of right now, the biggest question is, can you sponsor someone who will absolutely demolish anything you put in front of him?
You notice he once again looks around at his companions for a moment and looks back towards you. I just don't see that being of any benefit to me, even if what you say is true. Even if he can win, and I assume you're referring to the melee, because I can't imagine a beast being good at archery or a joust.
Well, you don't want to assume anything around him, that's for sure.
I see. Well,
Hang on,
nonetheless,
hang on. Let me ask you this. You're an investor, so it's money, really. You want to make good money, you want to bring good honor. I'm completely aware of how this works, but what if we, make a bet along with it, right? We put up a little bit of our money as well. If we lose, or if anyway there's shame or anything brought to you, we're in your debt. We owe you money. But otherwise, you have successfully won a tournament in front of the Baroness, no less, at Proudglaive, and I'm sure that comes with a lot of money and opportunities for work,
if you
which
were
we
to
could also help
find
with.
somebody else to sponsor him, I would be more than happy to take your money in a bet. But you say you understand how things work around here. Pardon me, but you don't quite look like you're from around here either. You probably don't know how things are. It can take generation to work one's way up, work one's family into the right circles. This is something that could shatter all of the work. I'm afraid I cannot put my family's line on reputation on the line. It would be untoward. But as I said, we are investors. If you could find somebody else willing to do so, I would be more than happy to participate in your bet.
Well, do you have anybody in mind who would be willing to, well, be a little adventurous?
You notice he kind of smiles very slightly. You get the impression he's actually thinking as he kind of like taps his fingers on the table, and he looks, and you notice the guy next to him points to you, just like pointing a finger right at you, and then like shakes it in the air. I think I might be able to do something. And you notice his companions all sort of look at him and kind of like lean away a little bit. Yes, I probably could. Why don't you introduce this friend of yours to me?
Do you want me to bring him to you, or do you want me to bring you to him?
You could just have him walk by quickly. I just want to see that he is all as imposing as you say.
Sure, I'll be back. And then I'll turn and I'll walk back over to Grask, and I'll look at Grask and say, well, so the conversation didn't go too bad.
Then they'll sponsor me.
Perhaps, but they need to see your physique, if you will, your physical character. So what I'd want you to do is walk directly by us at a slow pace, hold your breath, and buff out your chest as far as you can, and look extremely menacing. Yes?
Do you want some oil? You can really spread it on. Makes you look bigger.
And shinier, perhaps, but I'm gonna go back. Give yourself a moment to think about your pose, and then just walk past. They said they just don't really want to talk to anybody. They just want to see you. Okay? Right. And I'll give him a little punch on the shoulder, and I'll walk back over to where the group is, and I'll say, okay. He will walk by us shortly. His name is Grask. He is currently serving exile for Markazar. It's cultural custom. He leaves, gets stronger, comes back, bringing knowledge, various, any items or gifts or anything. And, well, he's quite massive, as you'll see.
And you notice the guy who has spoken up has stepped out of this booth and is sort of standing in front of the table, but still really close to it. As you exited to go speak with Grask, you will notice that they are all kind of talking amongst one another. You get the impression of the other three trying to basically persuade this guy, like, what are you doing? Really trying to shake some sense into him. So as you approach, he's kind of quieted them down, and he's just sitting here waiting for Grask to walk by.
And then after a bit, Grask will stand up and he will walk over there. But he's going to look at them as he walks by the table.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you'll notice that they all the ones at the table kind of glance and then they try to look as though they're looking anywhere else, right? The guy at the front is his hand on his chin here, kind of just scratching at it as he looks and kind of gives a slow nod and seems to be contemplative.
So, I don't know if you're familiar with the Scarlet Citadel, but he leads a group down. He's their frontline offender and defender. He can tear flesh with his claws. He wields many weapons, and he has a unique ability to scathe away damage, making him very hard to kill.
And you notice he nods, and I'm assuming, Grask, you kind of walk by and then head back to the table? Is that what you're doing?
Yep.
Okay. He waits for Grask to get all the way back in his seat, and then he looks towards you, Bassane, and he says, I see, and are you his owner?
I don't own anybody. He's a great friend of mine. But I'm sure you're aware there's always cultural differences that are, well, sometimes lost.
Well, I pride myself on my bluntness and straightforwardness and not being involved in any underhand dealings, so I will just lay it out straight for you. There is the official tournament. It is all hoity-toity pompousy, if you get what I'm saying, but there is another competition. It's more off the books. I would say it's really the true competition, for it doesn't have exactly the same rules as the one with all the pomp and circumstance. There is great glory and honor to be won there, but the opponents sometimes take, exotic shapes, we shall say, and I think that your friend here would fit right in.
Well, I believe what he's after is glory. Wants to prove his strength and his worth.
A fighting competition with many onlookers cheering for the victors? This is what I can offer.
So, let's talk money, I suppose.
Yes, indeed. I would be happy to cover the entrance fee. It is quite steep. As I say, this is off the books. So you have to be in the know. You have to have a way in, which I just so happen to have. I could make all of the arrangements, enter your friend, cover the entrance fee, and I think the split would be appropriately 70% me, 30% you or he.
Well, I think I could convince him to step away from his intention of jousting and going into this arena, but probably more for a 60-40 split, since he is, in fact, putting his life on the line.
Give me a blind check here. And I keep wanting to say Bassane, but it's Bassan?
Either one works.
Bassan. I'll try to remember Bassan. Did you have your token clicked when you checked that?
I don't know, but here's one with it clicked.
There we go. That one came through. You're going to notice he kind of eyes you for a moment, looks back over to Grass. You can see him kind of looking him up, down, slowly nods his head. Okay, yes, I think I could. Yeah, I think we could come to an arrangement. 60% for me, 40% for you. Yes.
Well, let me confirm with my companions. If you give me just a moment, that sounds like a fantastic deal.
He inclines his
What
head.
was what was your name?
And you notice he sort of looks towards you. For these kind of arrangements, names are, well, not very helpful. You may call me Rex.
Sure, Rex. You can call me Peter.
Yes, you look just like a Peter, in fact.
And then he'll turn and he'll walk over to Grask. Okay, bud. Well, good news, bad news. Which do you want to hear first?
Good.
Okay. I have somebody who will cover your fee to get entry into the tournament and will allow you to fight.
That's very good.
Yes, 60-40 split. If we win, we get 40% of the winnings from it, and he will get 60. I feel like that's fair because he's going to cover the expensive entry fee. Now, for the bad news, it does not involve you jousting. How do you feel about that?
I was never going to joust. I want it in the melee.
Yes, so this is a melee indeed. It involves exotic species, things that can shift form into animals. Um, it's not, it's at the tournament, but not at the tournament, if you get my drift. Kind of like an underground arena.
It's not the official melee.
Not the one above ground, but this is the one that actually matters. This is the one that brings in the big dollars. This is the one that they all really want to go to see, but because of cultural customs, the stuff above ground is what they must show. Does that make sense?
And the glory of winning it then.
Most of the glory goes to tournament champion or winner of this bout. There will be lots of eyes on you.
Then I'll do it.
Okay. Well, let me gather information from the man. And fantastic. Well, yes. Great. Then he'll turn and waddle his way back over to Rex and he'll say, okay, Rex, you have a deal. We will meet you there a day early before the tournament begins and go over, I guess, any details of where you want us to meet you.
And you notice he gives a slight smile and says, oh, so this is going to be very fruitful for all of us involved. As far as meeting me, I assume you'll be heading over to Proudglaive before too long, next week or so?
Yes, we have business to attend to in the Citadel, but once we return, yes, we'll make our way directly towards the tournament.
Good. Well, Proudglaive is a large city, but there's some locations that are more discreet to meet at. I think that would serve our purposes quite well. There is an inn there known as the Yellow Dragon. Have you ever heard of it?
I have never been to Proudglaive, but a person in our group is from there, so I'm sure he is familiar.
Great. Well, meet me at the Yellow Dragon, we'll say in 1 week's time.
Okay, I'll put my hand out and say, it's an honor doing business with you, Rex.
You notice he actually pulls off this like leather glove that's kind of fine, and you just see a plain looking hand. It doesn't look worn at all. You get the impression this guy doesn't do a whole lot of labor, but he reaches forward and gives you a good shake and taps your forearm with his underhand. I look forward to your friend making both of us quite wealthy.
Yes, I'm ready to show you what he can do. But have a great remainder of your stay here in Red Tower. Mr. Ambrosi is incredibly generous. He has some very fine liquor if you ask him the right way. Have a great day.
And he inclines his head and he starts, just kind of turns back to his associates here, and you hear all of them kind of like whispering with this sort of like really excited hushed whisper, as though he's just broken some kind of taboo or something. But he doesn't seem to be phased by this, as he just kind of slides back in and has kind of a little grin on his face as he's talking with his companions. And yeah, you return to your table. As you're making your way back and sit down, the door to the tavern opens once again, and a quite interesting figure steps through, another exotic individual who you perhaps have never seen in this area, primarily because there's not a ton of individuals of this species in this area. And Libby, if you would like to go ahead and describe your new character to the group.
A tabaxi steps into the. Am I saying that right?
You are, yes.
Into the tavern, and she appears to be almost entirely black, but there's a little tuft of white fur poking out around her neck. And she has really startling blue eyes that seem to glow in the dark. She has a attire that you would associate with something nautical, perhaps pirating, but very clearly not rich or successful. It's very tattered. And she looks pretty rough around the edges too, with scars and chunks missing, and sometimes scratches at flea bites and that sort of thing. And she's carrying a silver rapier.
Alrighty, excellent. I like the flea bites remark. That's great. As the tabaxi enters and looks around the tavern, you have been looking for certain individuals, or perhaps individuals that fit a certain mold, and looking around the Cage Tavern and in here. There's only one group that this could clearly be, Jolly, as you notice a group more towards the center of the Cage Tavern and Inn. You notice a lizard folk. You notice a man who looks like he is probably from the east. You notice another man who might be a local, and then another man who you get the impression talks a lot, but for some reason right now he's fairly quiet.
Maybe she stops by the bar and confirms that they're adventurers before heading over, and says, "Ahoy, mateys!"
Ahoy.
I'm looking for anybody that has some experience with the Scarlet Citadel. Would that be any of ye?
Ye. Indeed. I have not gone yet, but, well, these two individuals here have gone down quite a few times.
I would love to hear tales of those adventures. I'm really curious about the inner workings since so few have returned.
Well, they're not full of happy endings.
I would think not. Do you plan on returning?
Yes.
Are you looking for any compatriots to join you?
What level coolness do you have? Are you like a level 1 cool or level 2 cool?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. I'm level 4.
Oh, wow. You have a name?
It's Jolly. And yourself?
Charlie, I am Basan. It is a pleasure to meet you. The grumpy fellow who ahoyed you back, that's Hugo. But I don't think he's really grumpy. He just, well, it's not a fun place. And the big guy, that's Grask. And the happy fellow twirling his way over here, that one, that's Sebastian. And the quiet one, Renaud.
So you got a decent sized group.
What can you do?
It's a standard question. They asked me the same thing.
Well, I can fillet you with this rapier here.
She'll pick that up, Grask. She said she could stab you with her rapier, so I imagine good swordsmanship.
I heard. I'm contemplating. And he's just looking her up and down.
Are there any locked doors down there? Because I've been known to pop a few.
Yeah, locked doors, traps that'll scramble your brains, acid that falls on your head. You got any next of kin? Family?
Not on this continent, but you can send word of my death to. I'm probably gonna say it wrong. Endurian and
The Imperial City of Anweir.
Weir.
Oh, fantastic. Well, based on your attire, you look as if maybe you did some time on a ship.
Yeah, spent a lot of time in the harbor in Weir. If you ask around there, they'll know who I am. But I would really love to spend some time listening to your stories, like looking around at the people who have actually been in this.
I'll like turn and look with her, like, yeah, I'm interested as well.
You notice Sebastian looks towards Grask, looks towards Hugo. Well, I suppose this is me, and I am very capable. Yes, I've been trying to lead this group, make sure that they are making all the good decisions. It doesn't always work so well, but I'm sure next time is a charm, no?
Most likely.
Yeah, the first time for everything.
You better have silvered that weapon, Sebastian.
And you notice he looks towards you guys. Aha! And you see whoosh, he pulls out his rapier and waves it, and you do notice that it is indeed silvered. Aha! And you see he sheaths it once again.
Good.
So when are you returning next?
We took a long rest, so it's tomorrow already, right? Today
It
it's
is,
tomorrow
yes.
today.
It is.
North is east, and today is tomorrow.
Perfect. We're going today. Soon.
But perhaps we should fuse this new one in on some of the things that have happened. You see, we are facing a very coordinated force. They seem to know where we are and move around in small patrols. We've been having some difficulty making sure they seem to get the upper hand on us. We need someone who knows the battle strategy, can direct all of us to do good things. These guys don't always listen to me. I have some really good ideas, but yeah, sometimes they just get a little, and you see he knocks on the table, hard in the head. Yeah, maybe we could do some better communication, teamwork, and such things. And we haven't made much money recently, and well, that's the goal, is it not?
Well, Sebastian, I'm at your disposal for your group.
Ah, this is wonderful. Yes, good to hear. So, yes. So, guys, what are we thinking? Which way are we going to enter? Did you already ask if she throws a fireball or what she does?
It is a stabber. Sounds like. But I think on the way we should stop by that witch. Maybe that witch has something for us. Spell or potion or something.
Yes. Ambrosi said something about she brews potions or something or another.
I bet she has good stories.
Yeah. But Scarlet Citadel is dangerous. I just want to reaffirm that with you. But we've made a little bit of progress, but right now we're fighting this group. They've taken up the whole third floor. Seems like they're moving on to the second floor, but it's a bunch of troll-like creatures. Probably a couple dozen of them. And they run with these dogs. They'll rip your guts out if you fall on the ground. So you have that to look forward to. I know cats and dogs don't usually get along, so watch out.
Sounds like it's best to stay on your feet. Hope you all have your sea legs.
They do bring up a good point. Apparently, fire is very handy down in the Citadel. Can you do anything with fire? Any magical abilities?
No, the arcane is a mystery to me, as they say.
Have a torch handy then. If one of them falls on the ground, you can just stab it with a torch, burn it, and it'll stay dead.
Well, I got plenty of those.
So, Sebastian, you said they go on patrols. Have they begun patrolling outside of their normal routes? I know you guys said that you have cleared out a level or two, right?
Certainly seems this way. We before only fought them on the third level, and now all of a sudden they're on the second level. So, yes, it certainly seems as though it is a patrol. Someone said maybe that they are trying to expand the land or the control second level, and I do not know if this is the case or not, but we think that when we fight them, they try to get back and get reinforcements quick as can, so we must do something to try to cut them off from their directions that they would wish to go to retreat and try to kill them before they can do so.
Well, I was thinking last night, you guys have taken down a handful, as you said, and if their patrols have gone a level up, well, then that means that the enemy count down below has probably diminished a bit. They have to stretch their forces to keep up the patrols. How many are down there? Do you have an idea?
It was quite a few last time we were there. So probably a dozen, maybe 5 or 6 of those dogs. They also have some like owl bear like creatures they were keeping in pens down there on the 3rd level.
And the caster.
Yeah, and then there was some, it looked like an elven priestess or something like that that was calling the shots. They took one of our friends away to do who knows what to him, but seems like she was the one telling them what to do.
Well, how many do you believe you've killed?
Fully killed? Probably like 3 or 4.
And you
I
said
think
you killed one dog too, right?
yeah, one of the dogs. It made a popping noise that it didn't usually do when it disappeared, but I think we got it.
So was that a single patrol that you wiped out then? About 3 or 4 trolls and 1 dog?
Yeah, that sounds about right. There might have been 2 dogs, but we killed one of them. So I would there's about, a good handful of them at any one point in time.
So they probably have somewhere in the range of 4 to 5 total patrols. They're down 1 because you guys just wiped one out. They have some owl bears, and it sounds like a caster of malicious intent as well. So maybe you'll continue your efforts, or we, as I will be joining you, as well as Jolly here, in trimming the fat.
Yeah, I'm all for it. If we can avoid them grabbing reinforcements, that's when stuff really gets hairy. But if we can pick off a few of these, then it should make it a lot easier. There are a few traps on the 2nd level too. We were attempting to sort of funnel them into those as well. Some dangerous areas. Didn't work quite as well. There was a giant lizard beast that appeared next to what we believe to be some sort of, I know it sounds strange, time traveling machine.
Oh,
We killed that though.
marvelous.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's a siege tactic that I'm familiar with when you're facing an enemy that is heavily burrowed and has more numbers than you. Are you familiar with smoking them out?
Like when you light their ship on fire.
Yes, I have to leave or deal with the fire, one of the two. Do you know a way down to their level? Like, could we skip the second level?
Yeah, I think we we have two ways down to the third level. One of them, they sent us out. We tried to find it the other time. We couldn't quite pinpoint where it was. And then there's a hatch with a long stairway, treacherous stairway that leads directly down there.
And Hugo, do not forget, there is a typical way as well. So past that purple lighting, is you can just walk down that way.
Okay, so hear me out. But what if we attacked not the people, but where they lived? We could set fires. You know, if you said there was pins for the owl bears, we could probably set those areas on fire. Spend our time forcing them to break up their patrols and run and have the advantage. It sounds like you always kind of catch them where they are able to bring in reinforcements, but what if we attack the reinforcements?
Yeah, we could certainly try that. We just have to be ready to run if it gets a little hairy.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to die. I'm only trying to think of ways that we can maximize our trips. I mean, it would take us a few weeks to just go down and take them out 2 or 3 at a time.
That's true. They seemed sort of interested in this weird machine upstairs as well. I don't know if they have a purpose for it or if they're just trying to figure it out, but there was some kind of alchemist that we killed, but she was working on some sort of large machinery up there. So I would probably assume that there might be some up near that as well.
Do you know what the machine does? I mean, from my knowledge of trolls, they're not incredibly intelligent. What could they want with it?
I'm not sure. Well, yeah, they're not intelligent, but it seemed like the person that was calling the shots knew more than we know about what the goings on in the Scarlet Citadel. We're not 100% sure what it does. We know it involves temporal impulse compressors and dimensional extract assemblies, but I don't really know exactly what that is.
Yeah, that sounds quite complex. Well, I guess it comes to mind, but we could attack the machine. If it interests them, we do damage to it, we're sure to draw them out, make them change their plan.
That's true. We could do that.
Just trying to think on my feet. I know you guys have dealt with some loss.
When
Like I
you
said,
say attack the machine, do you mean this machine that moves through the time?
I think he's talking of the alchemical machine, Sebastian.
I see. So you're thinking that you destroy this other machine, and this is going to do what exactly?
Well, if they're interested in it and we destroy it or hurt it, maybe it will draw them out, cause them to be angry, break up their patrols.
Yeah, I mean, if we could lure them up to the second level, or they may already be on the second level, and utilize those traps against them, that might be an advantage. Because I'm not sure if they know what they are. So it's either, I think right now the decision is either bring them up, try to get them in the traps, or sort of do a strike team down below, try to get any stragglers or reinforcements on the third level.
You said there was a pit, yes? Like a giant hole that went down to the third level as well?
Yeah, it falls about, it's like 70 feet or so down below to the third level. One of our companions fell down there and died horribly, though. Fair warning.
Sounds like they had some nasty luck.
Well, I trust you guys' judgment. You've been down there a few times. What do you think we should do?
Well, it seems to me that every time we go, we try to come up with a plan, but then something happens and plan goes to shit. So I say that we pick where to go in, go that way, see what we see, and try to have loose plan for what could happen. But primarily, we must make sure that if we see some of them, they don't get a chance to flee. So if we know that they are there and they have not seen or heard us, then seems that we are at advantage. We can try to hit them from the direction we wish.
Sounds like a great plan. I have an ability that allows me to attack a wide berth of individuals at once. Perhaps if we can draw in enough, we can attack them in one big clump. That may be feasible as well.
Yeah, that's good for me too. But I guess my vote would be to check out the second floor, see if there's a small group up there, in which case we kill them. If there's a big group, then we can perhaps retreat and try to circle around to the third floor. And if it's clear, we can try to draw them up. Just as long as we're not fighting the main force. That's my vote, at least, and I'm open to whatever you guys decide. I don't want to be responsible for anyone's death.
Well, I believe I'm responsible for using my fire to attack as many trolls as I can, so I will do just that.
As long as we said before, that last time that we went in, we tried to draw them to us, and as we saw, they did not come to us, just run and go get help. So I think it is going to be quite challenging to get them to come to us, unless they do not know that we are there, and for some reason they are coming there for a different purpose. Perhaps, yes, this will take some time to figure out what is the best way, but I do not think getting them to come to us is going to be easy.
So we should treat it like a strike team. We come across them, we take them out quickly, we keep moving.
There's also those things, the ones that activated the machine. We have to stop them before they can do it again.
Were those librarians you referred to?
Yeah, some kind of robot. Mechanical men. I don't feel like they're the strongest fighters, but they've. It seems as though they brought that creature upon us intentionally.
If only there was some way for them to come under our control.
Yeah, it seems as though we may have killed their master. There was a small gnomish spellcaster. Seems like he was working on some of this time stuff. And it seems as though they were working for him. So I think if we see them, they're now kill on sight.
Okay, so it seems that we are going to the second floor. Which standard way, or what? I suppose that is the only way we do it, is standard way to the fourth floor, to the second floor. So if you are ready, I am ready.
All right, everybody have potions and healing and that sort of stuff ready to go.
I don't have
Couple.
any potions, but I have money to buy some. Maybe this z- uh, Lady Zulu or whatever will have something for me to buy.
But let's check with Ambrosi real quick before we leave. Sometimes he has something. And Hugo will go over and approach Ambrosi if he's around, or Ariadne.
You do notice Ambrosi behind the counter. He sees you sort of walking up, and he gives you that little nod. Good to see you again, Hugo.
Ambrosi, do you have any potions of healing available for a purchase?
You notice he kind of glances down under the counter and starts moving with his hand a little bit. I have 3.
3. All right. How much per potion?
50 gold pieces.
I can buy those, Hugo.
Excellent, because we have a writ. The money man give us a little bit of cash, a coin, I should say. And so, if you don't want to spend your own money, then we can use this writ. But about 150 gold.
Oh, why don't we use what's on the writ, and I can save my gold for maybe Zulu if she doesn't take it. Yeah.
All right, sounds good to me. And Rosie, do you still accept the writ from the money men?
He nods, yes. So if you wish to use the writ to pay him, feel free to deduct the amount from the writ. That'd be 150 gold for all 3.
All right, cool. Dylan, are you still being the treasurer?
Yeah, I'm on it.
All right, here you go. Courtesy of the money man, and I hope to see you again, Ambrosi.
He nods and says, yes, I hope to see you as well.
I come back to the table with the 3 potions. I don't have one on me currently, so if you all don't mind, I'd probably keep one of these, and then if anyone else is needing one.
Well, I can take one on my side here.
I've already got one.
Oh, you come prepared. Very good, Johnny. Maybe you'll survive.
That'd be nice.
So who wishes to have the last one? Anyone? Grask, do you have any sort of healing potion on you already?
I already have a greater healing potion.
Well, I can keep the extra one for now.
All right, so you have 2, and I'll keep 1.
Sure. And don't forget, I have the ability to heal a few times per day with my hands.
Maybe once Renaud has his morning coffee, he might be interested in one.
I swear, he gets so quiet before his coffee. All right, sounds like we're ready to go. Let's visit a witch.
All right, so it sounds like you guys exit the Cage Tavern and Inn here, make your way out into the Village of Red Tower, and exit from the Village of Red Tower over to where you know Zula's cottage to be. All right, and as you make your way out of this area, passing by once again the village wall, this time not needing to swing wide around the pond as you know approximately where you're headed. You guys make your way across the grasslands and a little bit of the farmland, and you start getting into a narrow area of forest, and you can hear the sound of sort of like clanking, perhaps, small things hitting against one another as the wind is just kind of pushing by here through a little bit. As you push through the line of trees here, you can spot a small cottage. It's fairly small even by village standards. You assume it could only be basically one room inside. You notice hanging outside of the cottage, though, on the sort of like where there's the roof meets the side of the building. There's a lot of things sort of hanging off. Think of this as like cords of perhaps straw. Some of it looks to be maybe more like a light rope. Everything's sort of tied together. Some of these look to be bones. Some of them look to be sort of like effigies of some kind. The ones that are more solid, made of solid materials, like the bones, for example, as the wind picks up, they clank into one another, giving this sort of like chime type of sound in the area.
All right. Anyone not afraid of witches that wants to knock? How about one of you new fellas?
I'm not afraid of any witch, but the vibes seem a little weird.
Oh yeah, it's definitely weird. But apparently she's been wanting to meet us, so I feel as though we're not in immediate danger.
I'll knock.
All
Very
right.
good.
Jolly, as you step up closer towards the cottage itself, stretching your hand out, getting ready to knock, you notice the door is just kind of opened suddenly, and you see a face pushes into the gap between the wall and the door and just sort of eyes you up and down. As she does so, you see she turns her head. I'm not expecting you today.
The Scarlet Citadel adventures?
You notice she leans past you and looks back and sees the rest of the team. Oh, I see. More. All right, all right. And one moment. And you see she closes the door and you hear some rustling around from inside, and moments later the door opens again and she opens it only a very narrow amount so she can slip out, and then looks you all up and down. You can see these sort of gold rings on her arm, once again all clinking, much like the objects hung out here. And you see she smooths this sort of skirt down that she's wearing and then turns her eyes back towards you all. I see that you have finally decided to stop in. how are things going on your adventures?
Well, for some of us, great. For others, not great. We've had a few fatalities.
And you notice she looks towards Jolly and then looks over towards Basan and gives a nod with a sort of like a knowing nod as she looks back towards you, Hugo. Yes, yes, of course. Well, it is a very dangerous place, of course. But the question is, are you going prepared?
We try. Sometimes a time-traveling lizard comes and it's hard to prepare for all the various things it throws at us, but we've been trying.
Yes, well, hopefully your luck will improve. And you see she turns towards you, Jolly, and gives a little bit of a smile at this. Well, you may have heard from some of the less superstitious folks around the village that I've been known to brew a potion here and there. I'm happy to make my services available to you.
What kind of potions do you brew?
Oh, most kinds. If you can tell me of an ailment or a problem, I'd likely have a liquid solution.
Renaud was telling me these dog creatures that we've been encountering, not we, but they, I'm sure you know. I'm excited for my first venture down. They go ethereal. Do you have anything that would help us see them, even if they do that?
Oh, you must mean the Lich Hounds. Seeing ethereal is doable, but that is a quite potent potion. Would require some quite expensive components.
Oh, so you know of the Lich Hounds?
Yes.
How is it that you know of them? Have you been down there?
Just come now. Of course I don't go there. I've just learned many things from my time here in the village.
What's the cost?
For a potion that will allow you to see them, it could do it without too much, I suppose. Perhaps 100 gold pieces. Of course, being able to see them doesn't mean you'll be able to interact with them.
Any suggestions in that regard?
How to defeat the Lich Hounds? Well, if you can prevent them from going ethereal in the first place, that's a good way to do it. For example, you could always stun them when they're nearby you.
I think one of our last companions could do that. Unfortunately, she was eaten.
That can tend to happen.
And you were just doing this out of the goodness of your heart and for a little coin? Or what stake do you have in this? Zula, was it?
Yes, Zula. I like to think of myself as a collector. A collector of, well, herbs, of course, plants of different kinds, but also experiences. I find it's better to establish a relationship between adventurers such as yourself before I ask for anything more deep. It prevents any kind of questions of concerns.
Can I roll an insight check to see if she's telling us the truth?
Telling you the truth that she well, sure, give me an insight check. I will say it's insight's one of those things that's always hard to gauge, especially in this kind of a situation. But yes, you can roll an insight check to see if maybe she has some kind of ulterior motive that you might be able to pick up on.
Yeah, interior or nefarious towards us or something like that.
I would say you get a sense that, how to word this? You get a sense that she has obviously ulterior motives here. She's going to, she has something up her sleeve. I think that's probably the most you're going to get with an insight at this point.
Okay. Well, we're happy to take any help we can get going down there. You obviously know how dangerous it is, and any other information, like you know of the Trollkin.
Yes?
Do you know the elven woman that they're involved with?
You notice she kind of steps back for a moment, sort of collecting herself. Well, I suppose I know some elven women. Is there some specific question you wish to know?
Who does she serve? She made reference to a bigger boss than even her, and I'm curious if it is anyone of knowledge that we might know of.
You notice she kind of looks left, looks right, steps out, looks up on her roof, and then steps back. Well, everybody says in the village that there is a family member from a long line who is near the bottom of the Scarlet Citadel, pulling all of the strings. I don't know his name exactly or what he goes by these days, but that's what they say, so probably she works for him.
Gellard.
Oh, I see you have already learned of the name. Yes, that is what I hear as well.
One other question I had for you. They captured us briefly and sent us along and released us through a long tunnel. Now, we saw a door along that tunnel. Did not go into it, but I'm curious if you know where that door leads.
Oh, yes, it's an area. I suppose you want specifics. I don't know exactly what is in there, I'm afraid, but I have heard it be called, the Clacking Caverns.
Wow, your knowledge is quite extensive.
Hugo, didn't you say there was another entrance that you didn't know about? Maybe she knows. Or you said you lost it or something.
Yeah, that tunnel that I was talking about. We got turned around after we left. Is there a way for you to sort of pinpoint for us where that exit might be?
I could, but unfortunately to do so, well, it gets into that area of uncomfortableness for most adventurers.
How so?
Well, yeah, what do you mean by that?
My work has to do with many secrets, I'm afraid. If one of you wishes to enter my cottage here, I will be happy to bestow the knowledge upon you, as long as you are willing to pay the price.
Are we allowed to know what said price is before we pay it?
No, unfortunately not. But if you decide you do not wish to pay it, then you don't have to. I just ask that you keep that between you and I at this point. Surely I can trust some adventurers such as yourselves.
Well, Hugo Grask, how important is this extra entrance? Would it serve us a great favor to have it?
Perhaps it's not something I'm willing to pay a nebulous price for. No offense to you, Zula.
No offense taken. As I said, many find different parts of this whole interaction to be distasteful, which, of course, I'm very understanding of.
What about you, Grask? What do you think? Would it help us if we had an extra entrance?
How do we know it's not an entrance that we all already know of?
I think it is an entrance you already know of, but just don't remember how to get to. Does that make sense?
I could find that.
I don't mind paying this woman's price. I'm sure it can't be too bad.
How do we know we can afford it without knowing the price?
You notice she smiles at you, Basan. Oh, you can afford it.
It's probably one of your fingers. You got 10 of them.
Is it a firstborn?
I don't have any firstborns. So I can't make that payment if that's the case.
Nothing quite so severe. But as I said, I'm afraid we can't discuss these exact things out here. Too many ears listening.
Well, look, let me do this for you guys. It could cause us a big favor to have an additional way out as well as in, you know?
That's true. But this would apply to other information as well, just not this location, if we require this in the future.
Possibly. I don't know everything, of course, but I seem to have a way of sifting through knowledge in different manners.
Well,
Right.
I'll go with you, Zula. But in return, I'd like knowledge of this cave entrance that Hugo was talking about. That would help us a lot.
Yes, I can do this. And you said that some of you have seen this entrance before, even.
Apparently, Hugo, Renaud, and Grask were led down it.
And you notice as Renaud's kind of just standing there, she steps forward and puts her hands like close to his face and just looks at him like really deeply in the eye. And you see he kind of like backs away a little bit. And she looks toward Jubasan. Yes, enter. And you see she opens the cottage door.
Okay, well, I'll be back, guys.
All right. As you enter, you see she closes the door behind you. This is a very small room indeed. You can see all sorts of different kind of containers, vials, jars. You see like a mortar and pestle. You can see plants of all different varieties just hanging up on the wall, sort of like nailed here and there. There's just, it looks like a total mess, but you also get the sense of some kind of odd, weird degree of organization here. And you see she starts just moving through all of this different stuff. She actually takes this vial from the table and pours it in the center of the room here. And this whole room is like maybe 10 feet by 10 feet. As she does, you notice as it hits the ground, it kind of sizzles momentarily and fills this room up with a smoke. It's not like it causes you any kind of breathing issues, but it certainly obscures your vision a bit. You can hear her making different sounds. At one point in time, it sounds like she like hacks something up from her lungs and spits, and then she comes forward towards you, and you can see her just through the edge of this grayness, this smoke, and she looks into your eyes and she says, "There is power in blood. I will need some of yours to give you the knowledge that you seek."
Is she giving me kind of malicious vibes at him, or does this seem on level with her mood so far?
I mean, I would say without a check, malicious. She certainly, I would say this probably unnerves you a bit. She's not like lunging towards you or anything at this point.
Okay. Yeah, but she didn't, like the sky didn't darken behind her and lighting effects go off as she cackled evilly, right?
No, you didn't hear the crashing lightning that was perfectly in tune with her speech. No.
Okay, cool. So he'll draw out a small dagger and look and say, "Ooh, just a smear, a few drops. What do you need?"
Oh, I will use mine. And you see she steps away for a moment. And you lose the visual of her, even though you know she's only feet from you in this smoke. And you see she comes back with this sort of curved dagger. And it looks like it's made of some kind of like yellowish metal here. And she says, hold out your arm.
Sure. Here. I'll hold my left arm out.
And she clears it of any obstructions like cloth or any kind of armor, anything like that. She would slide back so she has clear access to your arm. And then you'll see she just raises the dagger as she looks at your hand. And you can see her eyes light up with kind of a strange glee as she just whoosh, moves it really quickly. And it's almost like you don't feel anything for a moment. But then you realize as the blood starts to pour out of your arm, she quickly puts your wound near this container. It looks like a small black cauldron of sorts, and squeezes some of the blood inside. And then you see she just releases your hand and looks at you with this little smile as she once again walks away in the smoke. That slash on your arm will deal 8 points of slashing damage. Very short period of time after that, you'll see she comes back towards you, and you see she has this cauldron like cupped in her arm. And you see in the other hand, she's got this big, like a ladle, and she's spinning things around. And then you see she moves it over, grabs this other vial, and you can see she's like pouring some kind of a phlegm into the cauldron as well and tapping it out, really tapping it. And she looks up to you and says, sometimes it sticks, and shakes it once again. And then you see she begins to move the ladle again, steps away into the smoke again. And then eventually you hear the sound of like pouring. And she comes back a moment later with a small vial that is stoppered. It's probably only about 3 inches long, and it has this liquid in it that's a crimson color. Not exactly the color of blood, but you can obviously tell that's a part of the component. And you see she hands it over towards you, and she says, when you want to find the way, drink this, and you will feel it. You will be able to find it. Just follow your heart.
Okay. And since we're in your chamber away from prying ears, may I ask you a question?
And you see she smiles slightly. Oh, you're a brave one. Normally everybody runs away at this point. Please ask your question.
You said you've never been to the Citadel, yet you know creatures and locations and other things. You say you've absorbed their knowledge, but is there any person within there that we should truly fear?
Person? Many, I would say. There are many dangerous opponents in the Scarlet Citadel, but personally, I would say Gellert is probably the most fearsome.
They said the gnome spellcaster that they killed. They never got his name. Did you?
Your friends killed that one, did they? Well, interesting. That's, I haven't heard of that yet. And you see she looks backwards turns back and looks towards you. Maybe this time I have the upper hand. Interesting.
Do you know the gnome's name?
Yes. Do you care to know it?
I think it may help. Maybe later.
And you see she looks at your arm for a moment and looks back to you and says, okay, but you'll owe me one.
Consider it owed.
The gnome's name was Kagoth Z.
Interesting. And maybe one more question, if you're feeling generous.
has that dagger in her hand. She kind of taps it against her fingernails for a moment and looks back towards you and says, "As long as it's not boring."
Why is his death important?
And you see she looks at you, and you get almost a strange flash of, like, I want to say insanity, because it's almost as though her expression changes pretty quickly. And then she leans forward and says, "Could I trust you with this kind of information?"
I see no reason not to trust me. I've not proven myself untrustworthy yet, have I, Zulu?
Hold out your arm, then, if we are to trust one another.
I'll hold out the same arm.
And you see she moves forward with her finger, and on her index finger on her left hand, you can see the one nail is like unnaturally long and filed to a point. And you see she rests it sort of gently on your wound here and just traces it back. It doesn't hurt, but you can see she is collecting a little bead of blood on her fingertip. And she says, looks towards you intently now, and she says, Now, don't try to resist this." And she grasps onto your arm, and you can hear her begin to chant some words, and clearly she's casting a spell at you at this point. She's asking you to essentially forego this save. Would you like to make the save or forego it?
Do I understand the language that she's speaking? Abyssal, Common, Primordial is what I speak.
It's none of those three, but I would say you pick up certain words. It sounds almost like so in this area, what they would speak is what's known as Anwirian or Low Anwirian, and there's a dialect known that's Old Andu, which is essentially the old version of the Anwirian language from many, many years ago. So you can pick up a word here or there because of the similarities between the languages, and I would say you're pretty sure she's speaking in Old Andu.
Okay. I don't resist it. She asked me to trust her, so
Okay.
We'll vibe it out. We'll see what happens.
So you get this strange sensation as you forego the save. It's almost like something being tied to you, like pulled tighter and tighter and tighter around your body. It doesn't really hurt. It just feels like a strange sensation of binding. And then eventually you see she pulls her finger back and that sensation goes away, but almost like a shadow limb. You can sort of still feel it there, but it doesn't hurt. It's just almost like an awareness that it is there. And then you see she looks at you again, locks eyes, and she says, "Well, I regularly correspond with Gellert, you see. We write back and forth to one another. He hadn't told me about Kagot Z being slain yet. Usually he shares quite a bit of information with me, so now I can share this with him, and this will tip everything in my favor, I suppose. He typically knows way more than I do, and in this case, well, I will show that I am even more valuable than he thought."
Do you work for him, or does he hold some kind of sway over you?
Not exactly, but he is a very powerful man. He has access to many things that somebody such as myself can benefit from. You'd be surprised how difficult it is to find void tongues. These types of components are nearly impossible, but, well, Gellert seems to find them quite easily, and he uses these things to bargain. I don't owe him any loyalty or none such, but having somebody of his influence and being able to tap into that when it's needed certainly helps me in my endeavors.
Is there any ingredients, perhaps, that my friends and I could bring you back for payment or future questions?
There's always things that I can use, but finding what is really valuable is always the challenge. Well, since you're headed back there, let me think. You know, I seem to recall that there was, what is that thing called? I'm always bad with the names, but there is these servants that are kind of metallic in nature, very, very large. If you happen to see one of them and you can take one of the plates of their body, that would be quite helpful for something I'm currently working on.
I actually believe that my companions are quite aware of these creatures, and To be quite honest, I think we had plans to take them out. Are you
Oh?
familiar? Are you familiar with the machine they operate?
Oh, no, not those ones. Those are just clockwork servants. Ignore those. I'm talking about, I don't remember what they're called. You believe that? Just falls right out of my head. But they're much bigger than the ones you're thinking of. They tend to be different colors, like bluish, I believe. But you should recognize them. They're not going to look like anything else you've seen so far.
Okay. Well, we will keep our eyes out. If we see one of these creatures, I appreciate your questions and your potion here to help us find our way into the tunnel. And I have 100 gold pieces here for you if you could sell me that ethereal sight potion that you claim to have.
Yes, it's not quite a potion. You see she steps away back into the mist and then returns, and you see she has this small little jar of salve or ointment. And you see she hands it over towards you, and she says, just drop your coins here. And she just motions at this like messy part of a table. Rub that salve on your eyes. It will last for probably about an hour or so, and you will be able to see them. Like I said, remember, seeing doesn't mean you'll be able to affect them, but at least you'll know where they are.
Okay. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, Zulu.
And you see she looks at you and says, it's Zula. And you probably can already tell, but keep this between us, she says as she motions her index finger between you and her.
Yeah. No worries.
Now, your friends are probably worried. Let's get you out of here before they think I've done something untoward with you in here, yes?
Sure. Good day. Great afternoon. Enjoy yourself.
And you see she nods rather vigorously as she steps to the door and opens it. And team, as you're standing there kind of twiddling your thumbs, just waiting for Basan to exit here and maybe watching the cottage a little bit nervously, you notice sort of like an escape of this smoke that just kind of ushers out of the cottage as the doors open, very quickly thinning out. And you will notice Basan exits. And as you're sort of watching behind him in the smoke, you see the door is just closed.
I will hold up 2 vials. One of them is kind of crimsony, and the other one has that kind of salve-looking material. And I said, I got what we needed.
What was the price?
She cut my arm a little bit.
That's all she took.
At least all that I felt, yeah. I feel fine. Just a little blood spilled from my arm. I asked her a few questions about how to get there and whatnot, and she made this, yeah. So, do we want to go through those caverns?
I suppose so.
Well, we haven't done it yet, so it would surprise them a bit to have us enter from a new direction.
That would take us right towards the owl bear creatures.
Okie dokie. Do we have a plan for those?
Well, they're all in pens, so maybe they'd be easy to just, as you said, light on fire.
Seems most of the troll creatures really dislike fire, so I can definitely let it fly, so to speak.
Can we step away from the house?
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and start our walk.
I got the sense she wasn't being 100% on the level with us. So I don't want to give her any information that we don't need to share.
That is wise, Hugo. She seems to enjoy information, so we could use it as bargaining chips later if we needed to.
All right. Well, let's
I
do
al-
a little strike team.
I also bought that salve that you can rub on your eyes to be able to see the leech hounds. I'm sure that will come in very handy for us. She says we can't attack them or hurt them while they're on that field of plane, I guess you could say, but we will know where they are, which could be very helpful.
Adam, about how many servings of the eye salve?
This is a pretty small container, so you imagine it's just one dose.
All right. As long as everyone else is on board, let's find this tunnel, sneak in, kill the pets, and then see where we go from there.
Sounds great. I can see in the dark very far. I have the ability to go invisible as well. I can also make someone else invisible with me.
That's cool.
Yes. I don't know if we want to maybe scout ahead, see what we're going down the tunnel into, but it's totally an option.
All right. I think first steps first, though. We gotta find this tunnel. She helped you with that, right?
Yes. I have to drink this, and it should reveal the weight for me. To good health. And then I'll throw my head back and I'll drink the potion that she gave me.
As you unstopper this and then drink this potion, it is terribly tasting. It's like having a slime or a booger go down your throat. You just, it really grosses you out. But after you consume it, you can start to feel almost as though your heart is pounding a little bit faster. You can feel it sort of pulling you. It's hard to say exactly how, but it's almost as though you know the direction this is leading you. If you start walking in that direction, your pounding heart slows down just a little bit. If you go off in any other direction, it starts to speed up, and you start to realize that this is an indicator as you're making your way towards that location.
Okay, yeah, so I will do my best to lead the group in that direction towards the caverns.
All right, so you guys exit out of the area on the outskirts of the village of Red Tower and start making your way overland towards the Scarlet Citadel. So as you guys are taking that trip along the north path here, making your way, you know roughly where the river is. You guys pass by, spend about 2 hours, maybe a little over that, 2.5 hours, making your way in this direction. You start to see the Scarlet Citadel sort of like off towards the northwest, at least the ruins there. But you're following Basan as he continues to lead you, and once again relying on that heart speed. And yeah, you sort of turn a corner, move past a couple of different areas of openings, and then woods, and then an opening again. And eventually you see that there is this kind of large adobe... I'm trying to think of the best, or like a den almost. You could think of it like an animal den that goes down. And you, I would say, Grask, Hugo, you recognize this instantly. This is the way you did indeed come out after the Brakba from the Trollkin. And yeah, you realize this is going to lead you down. So as you're looking at this and you kind of walk up fairly close to it, Basan, you'll realize that heart pounding just stops. And you realize that the effect of the potion is now over. As you're looking into this entrance, it is indeed dark down there. And Grask and Hugo, you will recall that this is sort of like a winding tunnel. And if you were to descend down here, you'd first run into that door. And then once you get to that door, you would have to continue along the winding tunnel to get back to the pen area. So not all of this is necessarily mapped well, like the tunnel and all of that. So give me an idea of what you're trying to, where you're trying to end up.
I wouldn't say that we would like walk up and like boldly just go right into the animal den. Like I think we would go and we would surveil it, yeah, see where it's at, but then maybe draw ourselves back a little bit to find a good spot to like stop and chat about what our plan is, so we're not just speaking right inside of this tunnel. If that makes sense. I mean, and then I assume we just go down the tunnel, right?
Is there like a trail nearby that we could place a marker at to remind us so we don't lose it again?
So Grask is pretty good at knowing his way around places. When he exited here, he was really exhausted and hadn't just gone through all that ordeal. So pushing, to safety, unfortunately, those details kind of faded. I would say at this point, though, Grask, now that you've gone this way, you're pretty confident you could get back here.
For once.
But what if Grask dies?
That's
All right.
true. I would say you guys all probably have a general idea of where this is. You could certainly place a marker if you wish, but it'd probably have to be something that you could see from a ways off, like climb a high tree and put something there. You don't know necessarily if that would remain or somebody would try to take it off, those types of details. But yeah, I mean, you guys feel like you're pretty confident you could get back here if you had to.
Okay.
Well, maybe you people that can go invisible, and you seem like a sneaky sort, Jolly. Maybe you could scout ahead once we enter the tunnel and make sure there's no waiting ambush.
Yeah, what could go wrong with sending the player who's lost so many characters out in front, right?
She keeps making sneaky.
I don't want to take anything from you, Jolly, but I can fly as well. I can fly and be invisible simultaneously, actually. It's not like something I can do all the time. It's quite limited. I have a very limited time to actually fly, but I could theoretically zoom in, zoom around, check, come back, and make sure we have a good plan.
I mean, if you're willing to take that risk, I'm willing to let you take that risk.
Same here.
It's just an idea. I don't mind. But like I said, I would only have flight for about 10 minutes.
And Adam, do we remember about how long it took us to go through that tunnel to get to the third level?
Oh, probably about just shy of 10 minutes walking.
Okay. Yeah, it took us about 10 minutes in the tunnel, so we were pretty tired at that point as well, but, if we get closer, maybe then you activate.
Sure thing. I can do that. And which of you fine individuals can see in the dark?
That would be me.
Yes, I know the half-elf probably possesses the ability to as well. I have been blessed with devil's sight as well. So maybe not having light sources right away would be a good bet, but I wouldn't want to put you guys in danger.
All right.
Well, darkness appears to me as dim light, so I would be observant.
So here's my idea. Jolly and myself, we will go down the tunnel invisibly. of course, right? And then once I get a little closer, I will take off flying. Hang on one second. Let me just read the text about the ability. I've written it down somewhere.
I move pretty fast if I need to cut and run. They don't call me lightning for nothing.
Ah, yes. Yes. Here it is. I do not have to actually cast any spell to do so. I just give myself the ability, calling upon my good friend Nefrata. So, yes, I should be able to do so silently. So maybe us two go in. We do a little scouting, little aerial scouting, little on the ground scouting, and then come back out, give you guys the lowdown, and we make a plan, yeah?
Love it.
Why don't we wait a little further in, just in case you get into trouble? Maybe
I
by
like that.
the door of the clacking caverns, or whatever she called it.
Sure.
Okay, so it sounds like the group wants to descend into this tunnel, a distance, probably a good 7 minutes in, 8 minutes in, something like that, to get to that door, knowing that there's like another minute or 2 minutes of travel before you would be back to that rear part of the third floor.
Yeah, and I would cast invisibility on Jolly and I before we entered because I wouldn't want my spell casting to be too loud while we're inside.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and burn that as you cast invisibility on the two of you. You would both then fade from sight.
Well, this is cool.
It does
Bang
get,
down the hatches.
yeah, it takes a little getting used to, but yeah, it is quite cool.
All right, so we're right about break time, but I want to leave us in a good spot here before we go off to break. So it sounds like, if I'm understanding correctly, both Basan and Jolly are going to move invisibly down this location, getting separation from the rest of the team. Get closer to the entrance here, and then as they do, they'll just kind of keep their eyes open and look and see what they can see, and then try to report back to the team.
Sorry,
That's
my
my
dog is
understanding.
barking. I was actually thinking that I could use my elemental gift ability to fly as well once we get into the actual cavern. So I would burn a usage of that ability to give myself a flying speed for 10 minutes.
Okay, so your intention is to not be on the ground as you're moving through this area.
Yeah, but not until, it gets to the point where I'm actually like we get to the cap. I don't want to, meta too much because I know we're going into break. But the way I see it is, as Jolly and I enter into the part where we may begin to start seeing enemies, so to speak, he would take off into the air and go high while she goes low and just look from above, if that makes sense.
Okay, so let's do it this way. As you're moving down the tunnel, getting separation from your teammates, and with this intention in mind, you're going to hear a loud sort of bestial screech. And as you're looking in that tunnel, you look at one another. You can't see each other because you're both invisible, but you will notice at a distance, probably just you, Basan, as one of the troll kin steps up and looks down the hallway and has this like looking around kind of sensation. And then you can see him shout something back. So I'd say your impression here is some kind of alarm maybe, or something occurred here, so he came down to look to see if he spotted anybody, didn't see anybody, and starts making his way back. And that is where we will go ahead and pause and take our 15-minute break, folks.
Goodness,
All
you
right.
had my heart racing there for a second. All right, we'll see everybody in a second.
See everybody in 15. Alrighty, everybody, we are back on the second side of our campaign here tonight. So we'll get everybody over back to the world map, as we're sort of in an area that is off maps in essence. So as you will recall, guys, both Basan and Jolly are currently moving through this tunnel. They got somewhat close, heard this kind of screech of a creature of some kind, and with that screech, a trollkin came around, looked down the corridor or the tunnel, and didn't spot Basan or Jolly, as they are both invisible, but seemed to be drawn to that area to look over there for some reason. So with that in mind, Basan and Jolly, that is what you guys seen. What do you do?
Well, I would have let's see. Was this before or after I began my ascendance in my flight, Adam?
Before. So you were thinking, hey, once we get close up and we see something, this is when I'm going to activate my flight ability. Then you heard this screech and you both kind of were like paused from it, like what the hell is going on? How do they know we're here? This is when you see the trollkin at the end of the hall corridor. He looks down, doesn't see anything, and walks back off.
Okay. I'm gonna grab Charlie's arm and just start moving back down the direction of the tunnel that we came from, not into the threshold, but away from it.
Okay, a little bit challenging, mainly because you can't see Jolly, but yes, after sort of fuddling about a little bit, you do indeed locate her and are able to grasp onto her and start pulling her back.
Okay. I believe, I don't remember for sure, but the rest of the party is in the tunnel too, right?
They are, but they're a good 150 yards or so back. So, yes, you're having to walk a distance before you're able to see them.
Do any of them have any kind of light source or anything that I can see?
Well, that would be Grask, that would be Hugo. So, I'm assuming you guys have some light as you made your way down this tunnel?
Yeah, I would say if it's darkness in here, Hugo would have class light on his shield.
And Grask is lighting torches whenever he can't see.
Okay, then yes, after you walk maybe for 2 minutes or something like that, Basan, and this turning tunnel, you would eventually start to notice the lights on the outside.
Okay, so when we get to that point where I can see the lights, I'm gonna kind of stop and get Jolly to stop, and then can we listen? Can we hear anybody following us? Does it sound like footsteps coming after us?
Based on your passive perception, as you take a moment to listen and look in that direction, no, you do not look like you're being pursued.
Jolly, do you hear anything?
Do I hear anything?
Yeah, are we being followed?
No, it's quiet.
It's quiet.
Let's go. We're gonna proceed towards the light, Adam.
Okay, yeah, so you kind of come around that wrapping tunnel, and sure enough, you see your companion standing there.
I say, why did we back away? They didn't see us.
They didn't see us, but we maybe triggered some kind of alarm because he obviously knew something was coming. He came and looked, and then he turned away. Hi, everyone. We're over here. We're still invisible, but I think they might be gathering their forces, or maybe sending a patrol down this way.
Basan, did you recognize that screech?
No, it was bestial, but didn't you guys say there were like owl bears down there?
Yeah, some sort of bird creature.
If they know you're here, we have to leave. They outnumber us.
They don't know we're here, but they know something is here. That's what I'm saying. They don't know it's us, though. They didn't see us.
Regardless,
Yeah,
we need to leave.
We try a different way.
We can hide outside and wait for the patrol.
Okay, we can do that.
Of course. Let's go.
All right, so you guys make your way back up the tunnel after traveling for a few hundred paces. You spot that door that leads off somewhere elsewards and continue past by that, making your way back to the surface.
All right.
Yes, I apologize, but I did not want to just charge in as something that they were expecting us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's almost like you've been down there before because you don't want to do that. But with you guys out, you'll be invisible for a little bit longer, right? We can still use this and maybe go down to the second floor through the first floor, and you scout ahead.
Yeah, oh yeah. We would have to hurry. I've only got about 45 minutes or so.
All right. I think that might be a better plan. If they have an alarm system and it lets them know we're coming, that sort of defeats the purpose. So,
Yes, but I want to point out something. They have an alarm system, but if we can figure it out, this must be their weakest guarded point. Right? If you have something that you believe will automatically tell you when someone is coming, if we disable that, then how will they ever know we're coming? There was only one as well. It wasn't like a patrol of 5, it was just one. It might not be right
True.
now, but something to think about for later.
all right. Um, yeah, I mean, my only issue too is that if they just release all those owlbears on us, because there was quite a few, probably like 5 or 6. That's all they really need to do in that area, and all of a sudden we're surrounded.
I guess that's true. You guys have more experience down there than I do. But what should we do? You want to just wrap around and go down, like, what did you say? The top level?
Yeah, yeah. Go through the top to the second floor. We can sort of check things out, check out the machine that they were at before, and then sort of go from there.
You don't want to wait for the patrol outside.
Sure. I will follow you guys' lead. But like I said, my spell will only last maybe 45 minutes or so. So we should go.
We don't know that they're following us, so I don't think waiting here, it might not be fruitful.
So, Grass, do you know the way back around to the front of the Citadel?
I do. Let's
I have
go.
a question. Is the spiral staircase entrance closer than the main entrances?
From here, they're about equal, I would say. Maybe the spiral staircase is like a minute faster.
Okay. I was going to vote for whatever saved more time, but in order to maximize invisibility, but if it's not a big difference, sounds good.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys want to take the regular entrance back in through the first floor and try to find your way back down to the second floor.
Yeah. I think so, right? Everybody cool with that?
Yeah, and then we do a little scouting with the remainder of our invisibility.
Okay, yeah, so you guys make your way around the, going through the overland area here, passing by like the forest and so forth until you eventually find your way back to the primary entrance, keeping your eyes peeled, looking for anything out of the ordinary. You don't spot anything strange here, no signs of threat or of any dangers. Make your way into the ruins, go down through the trapdoor, find your way through the first level, keep your eyes peeled because you know you got attacked here last time you came through. You don't see again anything out of the ordinary. You make your way over to that set of stairs that goes down to the second level and find yourself descending that area. Those of you who have already been here know of the trap. Is it safe to assume you're going to have somebody set it off, or are you going to try to keep it intact?
I think keeping it intact is best because it's a good escape route for us to set it behind us if we need to. But also, do we have a time on our invisibility, Adam?
I would say you have very little time left, like maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, let's leave it as is.
Yeah, we'll just point it out to the newbies what to avoid, so that they don't step on it.
Okay, with that instruction, you guys can feel free to cross that area without any risk of triggering the trap.
I guess before we go, real quick, we only have about 5 minutes. Should we go straight down, or where should we scout?
I'd say scout the machine here first. Make sure that there's no stragglers.
Okay, we'll try to quickly make our way there and then come back.
And I'll give them like directions about how to get there since they haven't been down here yet.
Okay, directions have been provided.
Come on, Jolly. I'm being careful, Adam, while I'm moving. I'm trying, even though I'm invisible, I know it's hard to see me. I don't want to just cause a bunch of commotion, kicking a bunch of rubble around, so I'm paying attention to where I'm walking.
Okay, trying to
Same
be
here.
quiet.
Stealthy.
Okay, Basan, as you get closer down into this room, this machine that Hugo has directed you to, as you get into this room and look, this must be what he's talking about, but you're going to notice that it is in a terrible state. It looks as though there's been some kind of an eruption or an explosion from inside of this. There is debris of metal all about. You can see handles, widgets, spinners, all of these kind of things just clattered on the ground in just various piles, as though something large exploded or broke this and it just shot outwards.
Do I see any bodies or anything like that?
You do not. The infamous split the party scene.
How much time we have left? Do I feel it waning?
You don't feel it waning, but I would say Basan can tell you you're probably down to a couple of minutes. Again, moving stealthy. I assume you guys are moving slowly and quietly, so taking a little bit extra time.
We should go back, Jolly, before it drops.
Okay.
Hugo, can you tell where they are? Are they still here?
Don't see them, but there wasn't any sounds and they didn't come back, so they must have gone further up.
And Adam, there's nothing special about this room?
Other than these bookcases with the occasional really old looking book in very sad state of repair, meaning it's like very in piecemeal, falls apart at your fingertips.
Okay.
As we get closer back to the party, Adam, I'll drop the spell just as I see them instead of having it fall on
Okay.
its own.
Then both you and Jolly become visible.
So we scouted ahead into the next room. There wasn't any troll or anything. And obviously you can see some kind of explosion or something happened. Was this the machine you referred to, Hugo?
Yes, it was not like this before. Perhaps they tried to activate it without the proper knowledge.
I don't see any bodies.
Yeah, but I mean, they may have had time to run, but it certainly looks a little less operable than it was before. Now, this is close to where those mechanical men were, so just be careful. If we see them, we cannot allow them to activate their own machine. We must destroy them quickly.
The time machine?
Yes.
Yeah, we saw the runes in the floor, but I didn't see any of those mechanical librarians that you described.
Yes, I also didn't see any troll or anything in the next room.
As you guys are walking, you notice Sebastian stops for a moment and says, did you hear that?
No. What is it, Sebastian?
You see he moves back towards the door, puts his ear on the door, and then walks slowly back towards you, and in a whisper says, I heard something. It sounded kind of small, but it was like a door opening. Sounds fairly close to the east.
Let's
We
go
should
quickly.
clear the room. Nothing behind us.
If they're moving, they might be running. We gotta go quick.
So as it looks like we're shifting our demeanor now, you guys will see. Just gonna put this here so everybody can see what I'm doing. But that spear that he carries around, he's gonna kind of hold it out, and it shifts and it wavers a little bit, and it pulls into this kind of long scimitar that's very ornate. It's got like fine beads that hang from it, and he gives it a few quick swings and says, "Yes, let's go."
All right.
Are we backtracking or into the library?
We're going through this door here.
Sebastian heard something inside.
Where's Jolly?
Oh, sorry, I'm right here.
All right, I'm opening the door.
Okay. I'm gonna pull out my rapier.
We'll try and approach this first corner stealthily to see if we can't get the drop on them.
Okay, you both try to move quietly. Everybody in the group is kind of making your way. As you guys get to about there, I will ask for Grask, Basan, and for Jolly to give me blind checks to see how quiet you are. Okay, you try to be as quiet as you can be as you're making your way across this corridor.
And I'll try and listen at this corner to see if I can hear anything around.
Okay, sure. You, passively or actively?
Actively.
Okay, blind check. It is very quiet here, Grask.
I don't hear them.
He'll turn around and wave the others closer before he moves up.
What's that? It was just the background sound.
Still nothing.
How do these doors open? Is it possible to open them just a crack and peek through?
Sure. Go ahead and you can click on it, but I will assume you're opening it just a crack.
Nothing here either. I don't like this.
Can I listen at this door? See if I hear anything in that room.
You can. Blind check, please. No, it is quiet inside.
It may have been a scout. I'm gonna go make sure our exit's secure.
At this point, Hugo, I'm going to cast a spell.
Okay.
Hugo casts Weller's Ward.
Sounds like a new KP one. Okay.
And these little floating orbs of light disappear around his head and sort of give off a little bit of light.
And I'll open this door.
Nothing looks
take
different,
a-
Grask.
Can I take a listen at this one, Adam?
You can, yes, blind check. It is very quiet once again.
Are you sure you heard something, Sebastian?
He nods. Yes, seems very strange. It sounded like a door closing, but I do not think that I would hear this door being closed. Very odd.
Hugo's going to go back to where we came and search that hallway for hidden doors.
Okay, blind check. As you search this area carefully, Hugo, you indeed detect a secret door just to your south.
Nice.
Hey, there's a door here.
Renaud, tell the others.
I can't do a good Renaud voice. Yeah, they said come back this way.
Do you want to open it, Charlie?
Sure, I'm gonna. Is the rest of the group up here?
Hugo will ready a firebolt in case there's something bad on the other side of the door. Enemy.
Fortunately, can't ready outside of combat, but we will assume you are prepared and we're looking in that direction.
Okay.
Where is it?
Right here. Ready? Oh crap. What is that cute little thing?
Yes, indeed. So you guys notice as the door is opened, you are going to spot some interesting things inside. You notice this little guy standing fairly close by. Some of you may be able to see other things inside. As the door opens, he turns and looks fairly aggressively towards you. You're also going to notice, probably Grask primarily, that there is a wall of like rubble that has been built up right here. Think of this as chairs, boxes, beams, that sort of thing that has created sort of a makeshift wall. As this occurs, I'm going to go ahead and put us into initiative order.
These creatures we're seeing, they're like goblinoids and not childrenoids of the trolls, right?
Oh, interesting question. No, they do look like goblinoids.
Whew. How old-fashioned a module we talking here?
Morale question or not? But no. Okay, well, man, Sebastian's initiatives have been on point lately. Let's go with this track. Okay, so Sebastian has bow in hand. He will kind of make his way down, gets his bow ready, arrow knocked, and sort of aiming in that direction. Okay, this guy's turn. Okay, so he's going to hang where he is. Basan.
Okay, Basan is going to move here. And in the doorway, he's going to, before he gets to the doorway, he's going to clip his scimitar on his side and have his hands kind of raised and say, hello, we're sorry. We didn't mean to spook you. We just came across this door. Please don't attack us.
Okay, you're going to notice the one in the front kind of cocks his head, like recognizing your words, but looking a bit confused.
All right. I'm not going to do anything aggressive. I'm just going to kind of, I guess, stay here in the doorway and keep my hands raised, like not aggressively, and I guess take the dodge action just in case.
Okay, Renaud will step into an area that is perhaps more safe and also look in that direction. Jolly.
Jolly's gonna try to get a better view. She's gonna whisper to whoever can hear, maybe Hugo, Sebastian, I don't know about Renaud, but under her breath say, looks like there's 3 of them. And she's gonna hold an action to attack if any of her allies are attacked.
Okay.
Kill them quickly.
Don't attack unless they attack us. I think we just scared them.
Okay, anything else on
Everything
your
in you
turn,
wants
Jolly?
to kill us.
I was joking about saying they'd be friendly.
All right, so you've moved and readied in action, Jolly. Anything else? All right. From inside the room, a little bit deeper here, Basan, you will hear a language. Does anybody happen to speak Goblin?
I almost took it. I Goblin.
I do.
For love of God.
Grask, you speak Goblin.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, Grask.
That makes sense, though, you know.
It does, absolutely, because Markazor is filled with goblins. So, yes, as you speak up, or I'm sorry, Grask, as you hear this voice speak out, I should say, you hear in Goblin this voice from behind that says, "No, kill them all! They're coming to take our stuff! Get them! Get them!"
Diplomacy has failed.
This guy will remain here as well. Okay, Grask, your turn.
Okay, what just happened? Because that guy said, let's kill them, but then they didn't do anything?
You heard a voice from deeper in the room shout this out, and you're noticing the ones that you can see seem to be like prepared or standing there ready to do something.
Okay, I'm going to share space with Bassane so I can get a better view in the room. I think they're all ready for me, so I'm gonna rage first.
Okay.
I'm going to do the Tundra Soul, so everybody near me gets some tip HP. Let me find the one. Everyone near within 10 feet gets 3 temp HP. And then I will step in.
Okay, as you step to here, Grass, you're going to notice embedded in this wall of debris are actually crossbows that are aimed in your direction. So they're kind of built into the wall at different angles, but all pointing here. As you step up and notice this, and maybe you don't notice it until you hear the click, you hear the sound of each of these crossbows firing off, and I will need you to make 4 defensive rolls, please. Okay, 2 of these bolts do manage to strike into you, wounding you here. I will need 2 Constitution saving throws. Okay, so you will succeed on both of those. So altogether, you don't have resistance to poison damage, right?
No.
Okay, so I'm just going to bake all this damage together.
None of it's reduced from rage?
It will be... let's see. So that's 2 hits, so you'll be able to reduce this. Yeah, you're right. I'll do this half and half.
Taking off the temp HP preemptively. 3, that doesn't seem so bad.
3 from the first one and 7 from the second one. So, and then you would half those from rage, so that'll be 1 and 3. So a total of 4 points of damage.
Okay, with the temp HP, that's -1.
Okay.
And then the poison's coming, or no? Not at all, since I saved.
That already included the poison damage because it was halved because you saved. Does your rage doesn't apply to poison, right?
No, the rage doesn't apply to poison. No.
Okay, I'm sorry. So that's going to be, count that as 3 then and 5. So 8 total damage.
Okay. After reductions, 8 total damage. So I'm going to be down 5 because I had 3 from the temp HP.
Okay, that makes sense.
Cool. And then I'm going to attack this first one.
Okay.
There's a lot of them, so I'm not going to recklessly attack. Here comes the Great Axe.
You slash out and do indeed connect against him. Yes, that will essentially just chop him in half and he collapses to the ground.
Oh, goodness. This barricade, does it mean that this is the only way I can travel?
Unless you're willing to try to break through the barricade, it doesn't look super solid, but you know it's not going to be a simple task.
Okay, then I'll walk around it.
Okay.
So I moved 10 to get here, 5 onto Bassane's space, 5 to move in. Here's another 10. Here's 5.
Okay, as you step to there, Grask, you notice to your west is a pile of loose wood and debris, all kind of heaped up here and looking very unstable.
Okay, but no ready actions coming my way?
Nope.
Okay, let me get my ruler out here. That's 5, 10, 10, 30, and then I'd have 5 more. So I'll take my other attack against this pile of debris, I guess.
Okay. You smash into the debris. It shakes a bit, but seemingly has no real effect.
6 left in the leader.
That's me.
All right, this little guy is going to step up to here with a crossbow in hand, and he fires a shot off at you here, Grask. You manage to dodge that, and he will quickly back up. This guy is toast. This guy had a ready action, so Hugo.
Okay. Hugo will push in. I'm gonna blast him. Push to there.
So keeping in mind, I know I explained this, but you probably couldn't see all this at the time, Hugo. This here is a wall of debris that goes from like the floor to the ceiling. So you can't really see past it well, like maybe little tiny holes, that kind of thing. And pushing through it is possible, but it looks not simple.
Okay. So yeah, he's gonna go around it. So actually, if I telekinetic shove just basically has to be a creature, right? I couldn't do that on like debris here.
I forget how it's worded. Yeah, you'd have to post that. If it says creature, then it wouldn't work on the debris.
Yeah, I think it's creature. Okay, so in that case, he's just gonna continue moving past it. So it's 15 to there.
So unfortunately, the debris extends there, so you'll basically have to go around grass.
Oh, okay. So I didn't see
it's kind of difficult to see at the edges.
So 20 to there, 25. Would I be able to go from here to here, or is it that like a corner wall sort of thing?
I mean, it is, but it's debris, so I would say you could probably just hop around it. It's not a solid wall.
Okay. So he's going to try to get to here.
Yep.
And then they're a little too far for him, so he'll just take a pot shot firebolt at the one on the bottom there.
Okay, yeah, little guy standing there sees you coming, and you see him get ready to try to dodge out of the way of your firebolt.
Actually, I'm sorry, scratch that. I'm going to do something else. He is going to dash instead with his action.
Okay.
Move here. Move here. And then he's going to action surge.
Oh, these poor goblins.
Yeah, I have no sympathy anymore. All these things gotta die. And let me just check on that my ward thing. Is it they enter or start their turn there? Okay, so he's going to at that point he's going to cast Thunder Wave on them.
I assume that signature spell was coming up. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so right there.
All three fail. Ooh, the damage roll is kind of low, though. So the one is slain. The other two are wounded badly and thrown against the wall.
Okay. And he will move up one with the rest of his movement, and that is the end of his turn.
Okay, top of the round, Sebastian. He will step down, realizes things are kind of crowded in there, and doesn't want to take up too much room, so he is going to hang out back here. Okay, this guy is pretty hurt, but he is going to step up angrily, getting closer to you here, Hugo, and he's going to stab out with that short sword of his. Defense roll, please.
Since he starts his turn in my my light aura, I'm going to use my reaction to attack it with one of the orbs.
Okay, sure. So I think that's going to be a spell effect roll for you against his charisma, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And you're using just one of the orbs?
Yeah, I'm just going to use one of the orbs on these little guys.
Okay, he will succeed on that saving throw. So I think that means no effect.
Yeah, if they fail, they take damage and they get pushed. But I think with a
Success.
succeed, nothing happens.
Okay, yep. So he will step up as you see this happening. You try to explode one of these orbs on him, but it doesn't seem to work, and then he will jab out with his short sword at you.
Cool. Quick question. Since it didn't fail, does the orb go away? Because it just says on a failed save, the creature is pushed 20 feet away from you, and the orb you use explodes violently. Doesn't say if it stays. I'm not 100% sure on this spell, so.
So yeah, enemy makes on a failed save, the creature is pushed 20 feet from you, and each orb used in the attack explodes violently. So they don't explode. So no, I would say you still have them.
Okay, cool. All right, so defense roll.
He does manage to stab you here, Hugo. As he does, you'll take 5 points of piercing damage. And you succeed concentrating on that orb spell as we move to Bassane.
Alrighty, move into here, and I can't see over this debris, right?
Not well. Like little small holes, you might be able to see like a quarter of an inch here and there.
Okay, so that's 5, 10, 15, and I would assume Grask is angrily engaged with this wood pile, so that's difficult terrain, right?
No, I won't count him engaged with the inanimate object.
Get out of the way!
Alright, can I see over this?
You can, yes. This is a pile of wood, but it doesn't go to the ceiling. This is more of like a half-wall pile of heap of debris.
Okie dokie. Alright. Well, what I'm gonna do is... Let's see, I don't like the guys behind us, so... I could attack those guys in there, but I'm just going to finish my movement to here. So that'd be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And you see Basan with his bonus action or interact with object, he's going to pull that scimitar back off of his belt and he holds it up. And then he kind of does like this fancy double slash, and the actual physical slashes burst out of his sword, and he's going to do Eldritch Blast.
Was that on Grask?
No, it's on this little guy.
Oh, okay. All right, yes, that'll certainly hit him. And I'm pretty sure that's going to kill him, but go ahead and post damage.
It's a critical, so I want to see that good old force critical, right?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, come on.
Try to save you that embarrassment. Yes, the 5 points of damage will be enough to kill him as he is slain.
Cool. And like as that like slash kind of like cuts through him and cauterizes where it hits him, the other slash like flies right past him towards the other guy behind him.
That'll hit as well. And this one is slain also, striking into him, and he drops to the ground.
As like I finish my flourish, I like kind of reset and turn towards grass, but I wink at Hugo.
Okay,
Very
Renaud
good.
doesn't like that his Eldritch Blast gimmick has been stolen, but he will try to get in here and see what he can do.
Mine doesn't shove anybody back or anything, but it looks cool.
All right, we will move to Jolly.
Can I see this?
You can from where you're at now, not really, because you're looking through the wall. So yeah, so again, quick FYI, this wooden structure here, this is like a makeshift wall that goes from the ground to the floor. So looking through it this way, you can kind of only see in small cracks in the debris. And you were asking if you could see this here?
Correct.
Yeah, it looks like some kind of animal skin laid on the ground by a glance.
Okay. How does climbing movement work in like when you also walk? How do
They
you-
both use the same speed. So let's say you had a 30 feet speed and you walked for 10 of it and then climbed for 10 of it. Unless you have a special ability that makes you climb better than normal, climbing costs twice as much movement. However, keeping in mind that this wall goes from the floor to the ground, so you could probably really easily climb it, but you would just get to the top and be at the ceiling and not be able to go over it if that's your intent.
It, so would this feature be, oh, I only sent it to you. Would that be in addition to?
No, what that
Walking?
means is because of your claws, it means you can climb up to 20 feet total speed per round without suffering any penalties. So, for example, if your speed's 30 feet and you walked 10 feet, you would actually be able to climb another 20 feet on that same turn. Everybody else besides you, if they wanted to climb 20 feet, they'd actually have to spend 40 feet of movement to do that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, because I can't see anything, I was gonna try climbing up this debris and see how that goes.
I would say you certainly can do that. So there's no real check here. You can climb. You don't have any chance of failure. So basically, think of it as like you stick to the wall, you climb to the top, your head's at the ceiling, and the wall's right there at the ceiling as well. And you're kind of just looking around, sticking to the side of the wall.
I haven't used my turn, right?
You haven't? No, you've moved. You've got your action still.
Right. Okay. And then I had my rapier out, but to sheathe that would be an action, or to pull out the short bow would be an action.
You can interact with object to sheath a weapon, or you can drop it for free and then interact to draw a different weapon. And like I said, I know it's a little bit difficult with this visual here, but keep in mind who it is that you're trying to fire at, because there's a wall that goes like this all the way here. So your really only ways to shoot would be like straight this way or out this way. Really no enemies that you see at this moment.
Oh, okay. Then I'm just gonna dash in order to get down on the other
Sure.
side.
Yeah, you can do that.
Can I make that my bonus action?
You can, yeah. Bonus action or cunning action dash. That would be 20 extra feet of movement there.
And this is all debris?
That is a heap of debris. Yes, it's not a wall though. It's only like 3 feet high or 3.5 feet high, something like that. Okay, so it looks like you want to try to climb over that.
Yeah.
Okay, as you step on this pile of debris, you realize it's very unstable underneath your feet, and I will need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Got like reflexes.
Yes, you managed to hop on it and hop off, maintaining your balance without issue.
Okay. So now I will stab with my rapier. Do you roll sneak attack separately if you do hit?
You can check the box because you're a swashbuckler, so sneak attack will apply for you right now. So go ahead and just check the sneak attack box, and if you manage to hit, it'll automatically include that damage.
Oh, weird. It's not working. Hold on. There it goes.
All right, you stab out with your rapier towards this opponent. Just double checking him right here. Yes, you will manage to hit. Go ahead and post your damage.
I think I've got a delay.
It might be a little bit laggy today. All right, you stab out with your rapier, catching him in the shoulder and wounding him.
Okay. All right. I think I'll use I'm still learning this character, guys. I'm gonna use feline agility.
All right, go ahead and post that. Okay, so you would get double your movement. And I'll need another check as you try to cross that platform once again, that heap, so another dexterity save. Yes, once again, very light on your feet. Jump on that and jump off, no problem.
I'll get faster, guys. Don't worry.
No, yeah, brand new character, no worries at all. Okay, this guy obviously wounded by that. He currently has a crossbow in his hand. He is going to fire out at you, Grask. I will need a defensive roll. Yes, you duck underneath as the bolt flies overhead, and you hear him once again say in Goblin, he's coming to eat me, get him! This one will step up and fire out with a crossbow at you as well, Grask. Hitting you for 6 half to 3 points of damage. Grask, your turn.
Okay, I will take another attack at this pile of rubble,
All right, yes.
killing it instantly.
No, your blade is kind of... Is it really only +5? Does that look right? Is your strength reduced for some reason?
Oh, my strength's reduced and I never put it back.
I was like, that looks really low for a barbarian.
Okay, my strength was -4. If that was an 11, would that have hit the pile of rubble?
So you're hitting it, but even with an 11, I'd say you're not really having an effect so much, right? Like it's hitting it, but it's not really damaging it.
Okay, and for the purpose of rage, if I hit a box, am I going to drop rage, or do I need to try and climb over this?
Yeah, you're not hitting an opponent, so I would say you're... I think the way rage is like hit an enemy or take damage.
Okay, well, what did she need to do to climb over that? Was it just... did she need her climb speed, or was it just a dex check to try and get over?
It's a dexterity saving throw if you mount this heap and then try to move to the other side.
Okay, I have danger sense. I don't know how that's going to interact with this.
Yeah, I would say it would apply. Yeah, so you manage to jump on it, keep your balance, and you can go to the other side. So count that square as difficult terrain, but other than that, you cross it.
So that's 15 feet?
Yes.
Okay, I'll move here and take my second swing.
Okay. You slash out at this little guy, and yes, you do indeed hit him. And he is slain.
And I will step here, and with Great Weapon Master as a bonus action, I'll take another attack.
Okay. That will be a critical hit. Yeah, go ahead and roll that up. Damage twice, add them together. Okay, I think this is going to be a big one. Go ahead and post damage. Okay, so that's 19. Yes, that's going to be enough to slay the goblin leader as well. As that occurs, Grax, roll me a d6, please. Or actually, never mind. You don't even have to roll that. The goblin in the corner, upon seeing this one die, looks towards you and Goblin and says, "Come on, no, don't get me, don't get me. I swear, I give up. I'm not a threat."
The last one gives up. We could learn from him.
Maybe we should shut the door behind us and have a chat.
Lay down your weapons.
Okay. And he just drops his sword here to the ground.
Renaud, get the door.
All right. Yeah, okay, right. We are out of combat. Renaud will get the door.
And remind me, Adam, this door on the outside, I know Hugo found it, but was like once you knew it was there, was it difficult to see, or was it like, a sliding slather of rock, or did it kind of seamlessly fall into the wall?
It is a very well hidden secret door, so once it is closed, yes, it's pretty much invisible to the naked eye. You have to be really carefully searching in order to find it.
What do you know?
A lot of stuff. What do you want to know? I can tell you everything.
He wants to know what we want to know.
Nice digs.
We want to know what other secret doors there are around here.
What happened to that machine?
So Grask will just act as a translator between everyone, but let's just assume if someone asks a question, Grask is asking it and then translating the answer.
So what you'll notice is that as they're speaking common and he realizes that's what they're speaking, he seems to also speak common. So in Wirian, it's much more broken than his goblin is, but he can communicate in Wirian, so that's what he will do. But yeah, as he speaks in this broken language, let's see, you guys asked about the machine. He is going to tell you that some big green, you realize he's talking about the Trollkin. They have come in here and they were playing or messing around with it and they caused it to explode.
Did it kill any of them?
He tells you he's not sure because once he heard the loud sound, he made sure he wasn't spotted, got out of there, and then they just heard the explosion from this room.
So they have no idea you guys are here? Or were?
Correct. Yeah, he tells you this is like a hideout for them, and they've been doing little raids on this floor. They don't fight anybody. They're basically looking to steal stuff, and they're looking for knowledge, and he tells you that this guy here that is dead, his name was Keluikenj, and he was the First Blade, which is essentially a leader of this goblin group, and he told them not to steal anything, but they were here looking for information on the void, he says.
For who? For themselves?
For the leader, this Keluikenj.
What
And
is
he
the
doesn't-
void?
He tries to explain to you what the void is, but you get the impression his knowledge of what this is very minor. He basically says it's some kind of strange magic of darkness.
Are there more of you here somewhere?
He shakes his head no.
Does the little information he give us line up at all with the portal that Ushlox told us about that just leaks undead?
I would say somebody might make that connection, but you're not sure that that's what he's talking about.
And did Grask sort of relay what they were saying in Goblin to each other? Because the one said they're here to steal our stuff. So if I know that they said that, Hugo would be like, what stuff do you have here?
They're speaking common now.
Right, but in the beginning when they were speaking Goblin, nobody heard that unless you're telling them what was spoken. Grass.
Oh yeah, sorry. Grass could tell them.
Okay, when you ask this question, Hugo, this guy will nod, and you notice that there is this small foot locker that is just east of the leader Goblin's body at the moment. And he will say that this guy, this Keluikenj, puts stuff in there sometimes.
Okay, and can Hugo start sort of taking apart this barricade so that we don't have to climb over it and possibly fall?
Yeah, yep. Now that you're not in any danger, sure. I mean, again, you're careful with gauntlets and that kind of stuff, and you remove it and spread it out. Yeah, you can certainly do that.
Okay, and he sort of approaches the goblin with a sort of a crooked smile on his face. He's like, "Well, today is your lucky day. We're not gonna kill you, but I am gonna tie you up a little bit here, buddy."
He looks at you. Why? I'm not going anywhere. You killed the boss. I hated that guy. He was an asshole.
Was he in communication with anyone else?
I don't think so. We came from kind of far away.
I'm gonna... Oh, go ahead.
Save your rope, Hugo. He won't run.
How do you know that?
He just watched me take down everyone he knows.
I'm gonna search the leader's body.
That would make me want to run away from whoever did that to my friends. Tell you that much.
Jolly, as you search his body, he has a short sword, a light crossbow. You'll also notice at his side he has 2 vials of what you recognize to be some kind of venom. And it looks like both the short sword and the few, like say 4 of the crossbow bolts, look to have this venom already applied to them.
Cool. Poison.
What's your name?
You see he looks at you and says, Barakanadish.
Can you
There
use
go.
it
Make
in a
it easy
sentence?
with that. I'm gonna call you Barack.
No, don't.
You don't want to. I'm gonna call you Obama. No. All right.
So Barakanadish, yeah, he's just kind of shrugs and like, sure, call me whatever you want.
I still want to tie him up. You guys
We
trust
should-
this thing?
Well, look. What is he gonna do by himself, right? But what if he came with us?
No. I'm willing to let him go, but he can't come with us.
No pets?
I traveled with a bear for shortly. They were strong. This one is not.
He nods along like he's agreeing with you.
What can you tell us about the trolls? Do you know how many there are or anything like that?
Saw like 10. I don't know how many are down there.
Are there any other secret rooms on this floor?
Did you find the one north of here?
In the hallway with the slime?
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
Did you run into the invisible thing that disintegrates you when you touch it?
What?
Isn't that the one you just said?
No. Further up, there's like this thing, and you can't see it, but I think it's there because one of our friends kind of like walked up and he just touched it and just started dissolving.
Yes, the cube.
That sounds like the one we were in. I don't know what the first one was then.
You should
It's
show
in
it to
a
us.
hallway where there's like these big tanks of stuff.
Out of character. I don't think we found one there, did we? We just found the one with the with the cube.
I don't think so either. I thought he was talking about the one he described secondly the first time.
Just as an FYI, about 2-3 sessions ago, one of you guys stepped within 5 feet of this thing he's talking about, but you guys didn't go any further. You turned back around and went the other way.
Did we find the door?
It's not in a door. He's explaining to you that it's in the hallway by those tanks of acid. So you guys have actually come from both directions, but you never entered the space where this effect he's talking about is.
Oh, the disintegrating effect.
Yes.
Because there's green stuff
Thank
on
goodness.
the floor. Right?
Correct. Yes, that's exactly what you're thinking, Libby.
All right, but there's no door there. It's just a disintegration thing. Right.
He nods, yep.
All right. If you betray us, you're going in that.
And he looks at you like the idea of him betraying you is preposterous. Yeah, what am I going to do? I'm going to take all you down somehow?
Or you tell the trolls that we're here.
We've been hiding from them. They eat us.
All right, just know I have my eye on you, Barack.
Okay, hopefully not for long, though.
I'm searching the footlocker for any trap.
Okay, yeah. Blind check, please. No, you're quite confident that there is no traps on this footlocker.
Is it locked?
It is not.
I'm going to pop it open.
Okay, popping open the footlocker. Inside, you can see there are 2 mildewed books. These look similar to the books that you just spotted in the room that you guys quickly scanned when you were or scouted when you moved west of the other room. You also notice that there is a vial and what looks like a potion.
Like just one vial with potion in it?
Correct. No, I'm sorry. There's a vial and then there's a potion. So 2 separate things.
Okay, so we're gonna tack up. How many vials of poison did he have on him? Or
2
venom?
2 vials of venom.
2 vials of venom, 1 mystery vial, and 1 mystery potion.
And do you happen to have Poisoner's Kit proficiency, Jolly?
No.
Okay, because I was going to give you a chance to recognize this venom in particular, but I'd say you kind of look at it, you realize it is venom, you just don't know what kind it is.
I want to know how you get that.
Assassin subclass, or you can take it by doing a swap from the new rules. So if it's something that you think your character would want to have and you have some kind of tool proficiency at the moment, this would have to be something like herbalism or alchemy supply, something like that. You can swap that out for Poisoner's Kit if you like.
You can also, I don't know if you want to do it, but there's a Poisoner's Feat. So your next ASI or feat level up, you can take the Poisoner's Feat, which allows you to apply a poison as a bonus action as well.
If you really want to embrace the Poisoner concept, yeah, that one helps you do it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I played a Poisoner in our, what was that, Adam? Mysteries of Candlekeep, what was it called?
Yeah, Candlekeep Mysteries.
Yep, that's it. Cool. Cedric.
Renard, I know we're not near the identify tree, but do you want to identify this potion here?
He can do that for you. Yeah, so you guys are willing to spend 10 minutes here while he ritually casts Identify? Or I guess it'd be 20 minutes or 2.
Are people okay taking like a little short rest in this room since it's safe in here? It seems
Semi-secure, yeah. That would help me get my spell slot back.
Narratively, I'd be fine with releasing the goblin at this point, but Renaud may have questions he wants to ask, and we're just about at the end of the session.
We are, yes.
Yeah.
The goblin, you can also get the impression he doesn't want to leave this area yet, unless you guys are telling him leave. Obviously, he will. He's not going to try to stay here without your consent. But he's obviously on his own now, and you can tell he's not particularly tough. So he's trying to wait it out until an opportune time to get out of here.
Hugo would prefer to keep him at least while we short rest here, and so that we can at least get that for sure. But and then Hugo would also like to check out the books.
Okay.
Are you actually short resting?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Let's
We have
do
this
it.
closed secret room.
Yeah, okay. So if you want to spend one of your 2 short rests, go ahead and type in chat, short rest, and then I will apply that to you so that you can get back those resources. The books look to be similar to books you would have spotted over in the West. They're mildew. They don't look like they're of anything of particular interest. You do see, I would say, written in this kind of old language, the word void a few different times. So you get the impression that's probably why this guy was interested in them. But they're really short as far as like quality and as far as what is actually readable. It's very little here. During this hour short rest, is it safe to say you guys are moving about this room, poking around, that kind of thing?
Yeah, trying to figure out what other supplies they had.
Okay, so yeah, we are a little over session time here, but upon poking around the room, you can find tucked into some of the sleeping furs, there's a sack of supplies, and there are 3 more potions. So would you guys like to have, over the course of this hour, Renat essentially identify all of this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't lose any resources.
Right, ritual cast over and over. Okay, so here's what you
Yeah.
guys are going to get. Potion of growth, potion of healing, potion of thunder resistance. Those are the 3 that were tucked into the furs. And then the other 2 items that were found in the footlocker is a vial of oil of slipperiness and a potion of greater healing.
Man, they must have nicked all this stuff from the alchemist.
You got it.
That's where it all went. I think that gives us 2 growth potions. So, Grass, you can use one a little more recklessly and get big and swole. I think it gives you like an extra 1d4 of damage too.
I love an extra 1d4 of damage.
That was great, Batman.
All right,
What's a
guys. So
D4?
we are a little past session end time here, so we'll go ahead and hang it up. However, next week we had discussed about you guys making your way over to the tournament. You guys are in here. Is it your plan to exit here as quickly as you can, get back to the Village Red Tower, and then start making your way over to the tournament? Or do you plan to continue exploring the Scarlet Citadel next session?
I want to go to the tournament.
Yeah,
I still do.
my vote is that since we actually got some, decent treasure, we got something out of it at least for this run in. We go to the tournament, but I understand if the new people that really like the Scarlet Citadel want to keep going in. But my vote would be to take our good fortune and run with it out of here.
Yeah, we might as well stay with the plan that we have. Plus, that will, we learned some good things. It sounds like the trolls tried to use the machine. It backfired on them. Maybe it threw them off. Maybe the person that is in charge of them is pissed off at them. There's a lot of things, but maybe leaving for a week and coming back will give us an advantage or something. We never know.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good. So we will assume. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. We didn't mean to cut you off there.
No problem. Jolly's gonna be bummed, but as long as everyone promises to take her back down here again, she'll accompany them to the tournament.
Okay, excellent. So then we will assume you guys are making your way back to the Village of Red Tower, probably just checking in there, maybe doing a quick rest, something like that. Then you'll begin the journey, I assume, by foot over to Proudglaive. You'll have plenty of time to get there before the tournament, unless, again, something really crazy happened on the way, but I don't anticipate that. So you guys will make your way over to Proudglaive, and essentially next week's session will focus on the tournament. I know Grask is going to participate in this sort of underground melee that has been discussed. Is it anybody else's intention to try to be a participant in either the official or the underground tournament while you're there?
Is it safe to assume that the racial restrictions would also extend to less scary non-humans?
Yes. Yep. So you can assume that particularly in the joust, it's only like nobles and knights. So that wouldn't apply to any of you guys. Maybe Basan could try to make an argument there if he really wanted to try to push it and like pull out bona fides kind of thing. Maybe. Hugo, I don't think would have any real hope of participating in the joust. If he could get a sponsor, he could certainly do the melee or the archery event. I'm guessing Renaud wouldn't have an interest in either, or any of the 3 really. But like I say, there is this underground event that is more for your non-fancy pantsy people. So if there's something there you guys wanted to participate in, I just want to make sure I'm prepared and ready for you, knowing who wants to do what.
But San
Yeah.
has this really cool ability, his bloodline ability, that allows him to make like crazy ranged attacks without disadvantage. So I think he would want to try the archery thing just because he feels like he's a pretty good shot. And if there's anything, that's abnormally long range, he would have an advantage.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, there's not much restrictions as far as the archery besides being, essentially human, right? So I will assume Basan is interested in the official archery event.
And then Hugo probably wouldn't be interested in it unless he can use magic. So if the underground one, they don't care about magic, he probably would try to take a part of it. But I'm assuming with the melee one, there's not magic allowed and stuff like that. So if there's magic allowed, he's probably into it. But if not, he's not going to risk it.
All right, that's perfect. Well, I won't spoil anything for you, but I will say in the official events, no magic is allowed. But as you attend with Grask and find this underground event, you might find something that's right up your alley there, Hugo. Okay, so I've got, I think, Hugo, I've got Basan, I've got Grask's intent. Jolly, would Jolly be interested in trying to participate in one of these underground events?
Non-magical melee, sure. If that exists, that would allow her to participate.
Yeah, so it sounds like similar to what Grask will be participating in then.
Yeah. Well, actually, from what Jolly has presumably been relayed, she has a lot of questions about who the fellow combatants will be.
Yes, and
So
I
very
won't.
unclear.
Yes, and that's very true. And I won't lock anybody into these decisions, right? Like if you get there and see something, you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this. I'm not going to participate. No worries at all. I just didn't want to show up assuming nobody wanted to participate. And then suddenly you guys say, yeah, that sounds good. So yes, you will see what is presented to you.
Yes. If Jolly gets there and finds other humanoids to fight, she's very interested. If it's a dogfight and they're fighting beasts, then she's not interested.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so we will see what you guys get up to once you get over there to the underground affairs in the city of Proudglaive. So yeah, it'd be an interesting session to see how this goes. We might have some for the record books and the official books, obviously, with Basan, and then you guys might get yourself a bit of an underground reputation, depending on how that goes. I will also post this question to Renaud's player to see what he might be interested in. And yeah, we will see everybody next week for the tournament, guys. Hope everybody had a great session. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, guys. Great session.
Can I also say that outside of Basan's event, he's going to be with Sebastian because he knows Sebastian has a penchant for gambling. So, yeah, that's what Basan. He'll just be following Sebastian around. Any bets Sebastian makes, Basan will be right there, ready to make a bet too.
Fair enough. Yeah, good to know.
But have a great week, everybody.
Yep, later, guys.